Hokage I can only use Xianju, Chapter 41-60. Chapter 41 _ My Mahamudra. Sound Ninja Village. A huge spatial whirlpool emerged, releasing everyone from Gaara. After landing, everyone sighed at the magic of space ninjutsu at this time. There is one exception, that is Junmalu. He has no such thoughts at all, and directly questioned Feng Yao again. Where is Lord Orochimaru now? Did you trap him in the space just now? When did you let him go? They also entered the Kamui space just now, although the scope there is not comparable to the size of a world-like space like the Imperial Palace of Heaven, a kind of time-space ninjutsu, the technique mastered by Kagaya Otsutsuki. But it is also about the size of the country of fire. Feng Yao deliberately separated the people inside, and Orochimaru was naturally taken care of. He's not dead, I'll let you see him when conditions allow. Junmalu heard the words and paused. He continued, I hope you can do what you say. I will always keep an eye on you. If something happens to Lord Orochimaru, I will definitely kill you. After speaking, he gave Feng Yao a vicious look. Then you also need to have this ability, but I really didn't intend to take his life, don't worry. Feng Yao couldn't help looking at Junmalu up and down. Such a loyal and outstanding person is really rare. Orochimaru is worthy of being a friend of orphans. Kunmaro took the rest of the three to rest first, and the rest were Gaara and Tayuya. The two of them spoke almost simultaneously. Mr. Feng Yao, please bandage the wound first. Tayuya's face was a little red. She thought that she would bring a bandage to Feng Yao for a while. This is a good opportunity to get close to Feng Yao in an open and honest way. But unfortunately, Feng Yao exposed the wound, and he almost became a blood car, and his physique's recovery ability is still very strong. Seeing the wound, Gaara breathed a sigh of relief, and Taiyu could only give up the idea angrily. Dao Yuya, take these people to rest for a while, I still have some things to do. After speaking, he activated his divine power again and released Neji and Shangrin. The two were still a little uncomfortable when they first came out. Saninki spoke first. Lord Feng Yao, what is this place? Hearing Neji's doubts, Feng Yao smiled slightly. This is your base in a short period of time. You can cultivate here well. If you have any questions, you can ask Tayuya. There was nothing wrong with Ninki, but Shangrin frowned sharply, looking up and down at Tayuya, who was about the same size as her. Duoyu also saw Feng Yao release another woman from the space, and his mentality exploded. Not to be outdone, the two looked at each other, and the first time they met, there was a faint smell of gunpowder. Shangrin took a step forward and grabbed Feng Yao's clothes. Feng Yao I didn't know this woman at all when I first came here. What if she wants to hurt me? Why don't you accompany me? This stinky woman actually pretends to be pitiful in front of Lord Feng Yao. Don't touch Lord Feng Yao with your dirty hands. Duo Yuya resisted the urge to beat Shangrin, and took a step forward to drag her away from Feng Yao's side. Tiefan said, don't worry, I will take good care of you. So don't bother Lord Feng Yao. Taiyu also left with a few people in the noise. Seeing that the two of them could chat so happily when they met for the first time, Feng Yao nodded with satisfaction. It seems that their relationship is not bad, so I can rest assured. If the system had eyes, it would now look at Feng Yao like an idiot. The idea of the host is really different, but congratulations, you have completed the task, win the Chunin exam, and whether to use the chance to win the lottery now. Well, use it now. Feng Yao is really lacking in attacking methods now. To put it bluntly, psychics still summon other creatures to fight, and there are only a few psychic beasts in total. The most effective one is to rely on Flying Thunder God or Shenwei. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Mahamudra of myself, for the host to automatically learn to master it. Yep, won my Mahamudra, never heard of it, but it sounds like a means of attack. Feng Yao took a closer look at this ultimate move, which is more like a method of attacking with chakra condensed into palms. Separate countless phantoms, and then attack with the right hand as the palm print, condensing into a giant hand to attack. The power seems to be extremely extraordinary. Seeing that the system didn't pull across Feng Yao this time, he smiled with satisfaction and praised him. It seems that the lottery mechanism of your system is still okay. I blamed you before. Hearing that Feng Yao rarely said such a good word, the system reminded me lightly. The host is very polite, but from the perspective of this system, it seems that your chakra is not enough to release the big mudra of my own. Not enough. Yes, not enough. Dumbfounded in the same place, Feng Yao, who has confirmed it again and again, swears again. I knew that your broken lottery mechanism was rubbish. It's a shame that I still trust you so much. How can you let me finish the task with peace of mind in the future? Are you drawing something that is completely useless? It's also slightly embarrassing to hear the system here. Ahem, this is actually just your bad luck. Next time, wait for you to complete the task of forming a force to reward the host for a more advanced prize pool lottery. Feng Yao is really angry and has nowhere to put it. His chakra volume is already high enough. But after thinking about it, it shows how powerful this move is. Now, I can only think of another way. This is what you said. If you lie to me, I will kill myself and die with you. If the host dies, in fact, this system will not die. Quote. After the rewards are drawn, it is necessary to deal with the few people left in the Shinwei space, Sai and Orochimaru left from the roots. The space vortex of the right eye opened, and Feng Yao was absorbed into it. The sky is full of stars like the night, surrounded by uneven stone pillars, and the space seems to have no end when viewed from a distance. A black-haired boy was holding a picture book and scribbled. This person was Sakai. He had received training in Danzo deprivation of feelings. Even in this unknown space, Sakai was still very calm. You're quite laid back. Are you ready to talk to me? Feng Yao came to his side and spoke slowly, and heard Sai's right hand wave here. Ninja Super Beast Pseudo Painting. A lifelike ink dragon bit Feng Yao, but it went straight through Feng Yao's body. Sakai frowned again and was about to continue. Flying Thunder God's Art. In the blink of an eye, kunai was already on Sakai's neck. Feng Yao was very cautious, and everyone who had contact with him had Fei Lei Shen's spell on him. Sakai closed his eyes and looked like he was obediently waiting to die. Why, I don't mean to torture you, and besides, it's thanks to me that your seal of tongue annihilation is lifted. The seal of tongue bane is a special sealing technique for Konoha Anbu's root, and Danzo puts a curse mark on the tongues of root members. If the person being cast said anything about him, he would be paralyzed, unable to speak or move, but after Danzo died, it would be ineffective. Looking at Sakai, who continued to keep his mouth shut, Feng Yao frowned slightly. I know that Danzo has brainwashed you, and you have all undergone special training to suppress your emotions, but for you, the reason why you have become like this is because of your words. Hearing the name, Sakai was stunned. He stared at the man in front of him with wide eyes. The letter was Sakai's brother. In order to let the younger brother of Sai live well, he told his younger brother to forget his feelings. It can be said that Sakai became completely emotionless and became a tool that could only perform tasks, which was directly related to Shin's death and the words before Shin's death. How did you know the name? Seeing that Sai finally spoke, Feng Yao leaned over. It doesn't matter how I know it. Your brother wants you to live in this cruel world and let you do that. If you just die like this, do you think it's worthy of your brother's deathbed words? Sakai was struggling when he heard the words, and the most important person in his life was his brother. Follow me and live in this ninja world, maybe one day you can meet your brother. Feng Yao's last words brought light to Sakai's eyes. He stood up, stared at the man who was destroying his roots, and made a decision. I am willing to be loyal to you. Sakai knelt down on one knee and said to Feng Yao with his head down. Very well, get up, we have another person to meet, he is not easy to deal with. Feng Yao smiled and helped Sakai up, and then his eyes looked like a distance. Suddenly his face was solemn, and he felt the fluctuation of two chakras. In addition to Sakai, there should be only Orochimaru and a few miscellaneous fish left. How could they fight Orochimaru? and that chakra strength is even comparable to Orochimaru. Chapter 42 _ the same kaleidoscope writing wheel I. In the divine space. Feng Yao. This guy's time and space ninjutsu is really terrible. What the hell is this place? After Orochimaru was sucked into the space, he was very irritable. Not only was there nothing here, but it looked like the same scenery. He also tried to leave, but unfortunately the ninjutsu he mastered could not bring him back to the ninja world. He is also thinking about how Feng Yao will deal with himself. Even if he is killed, Orochimaru is not afraid, because the curse mark can make him resurrect again. There is Orochimaru's chakra in every curse mark, which is like a save game. It's just very troublesome, and if Feng Yao has been trapped here, there is nothing to do. Just as he was thinking and moving forward, the space in front of him suddenly began to rotate, as if he was being sucked in at that time. He thought it was Feng Yao coming and was about to talk to the other party, but it was a man in black tights and a mask showing only one eye, and that eye. It's a writing wheel. Orochimaru didn't know why the other party came here. This person's breath is obviously not Feng Yao, but since there is a writing wheel eye. Orochimaru licked his lips, his neck suddenly stretched out, and he stabbed the masked man with a grass pheasant sword from his mouth. The other party seemed surprised to see Orochimaru in the space, but he didn't panic when he saw the attack, and Orochimaru's head passed through him. This is Feng Yao's illusory ninjutsu. How can this guy do it? Is there any connection between them? Orochimaru's golden pupils were tiny. However, Orochimaru doesn't know the identity of the other party, but the masked man knows Orochimaru well. He was also more curious about how Orochimaru came to be. Why are you able to enter my space? The mask asked. Your space. Orochimaru was also puzzled. Isn't this place Feng Yao's space? Aren't the two of them together? Of course, you. Well, I'll catch you and ask you carefully. Hear the other party's tone so arrogant. Orochimaru also sneered. Boy, although I don't know who you are, but it looks like you can get out of here. Why don't I beat you up and let you take me out? Masked man snorted coldly. It's too much, let's try it. In his own space, the masked man is confident enough to defeat Orochimaru. His hands are sealed with Si, Wei, Shen, Hai, Wu, Yin. Taking a deep breath, the chakra in the body turned into flames. Fire escape How fireball. The masked man spit out a huge fireball. The attack range of the How fireball was changed by chakra. The masked man's How fireball was obviously much stronger than ordinary people. Orochimaru saw that the scope of the technique was huge, and it directly turned into a mollusk. Its body fell to the ground like a snake and wrapped around the stone pillar next to it. It rotated and climbed up, avoiding the fireball. Hey, it's the fire escape that the Uchiha family is best at. Who are you? Seeing the fireball Orochimaru, he was even more convinced that the identity of the other party was Uchiha's clan, but Uchiha had been exterminated, and the man in front of him was not Sasuke or Itachi, so his identity. You don't need to know my identity. The masked man stomped his feet into the air, rushed towards Orochimaru, and a branch emerged from his right hand. Wooden, cutting technique. This is a ninjutsu that can only be used with column cells. By touching or using a wooden branch to insert into the opponent's body, then the opponent's body will emerge sharp branches to penetrate it. It is extremely cruel. The number is based on the user's check. Carrot. Humph, the tongue snake sucked and swallowed. Orochimaru also spit out a snake from his mouth, trying to tie the opponent's neck. But only after the branch touched his body did he feel the horror of this technique. You can even use the wood tunnel. He directly spit out a brand new body using the big snake flow substitute technique, and crawled to the side wetly. Countless sharp roots erupted from the original body. The power of the cutting technique also surprised Orochimaru a little, but there are too many things that have surprised him recently, and he is already numb. He made a seal with both hands and prepared to control the opponent first. Shimmering snake hand. Orochimaru's arm suddenly turned into dozens of black pythons wrapping around like a masked man, but it still penetrated directly. Damn, What kind of technique is this? Orochimaru had a headache when he saw it penetrated again. HMPH, but when he attacks me, he has to materialize. As long as he can make good use of this, I can be invincible. When I thought of this in my heart, Feng Yao, who was on the side, used the technique of Flying Thunder God to instantly come to Orochimaru. He had just been watching the battle for a while, and it would be meaningless to let the two fight. Orochimaru was about to fight back as soon as he saw Feng Yao, but Feng Yao's kunwu had already pressed against his throat. The speed of Fei Lei Shen is well deserved. Although Orochimaru can also use Orochimaru to escape, he still wants to hear what Feng Yao has to say. Feng Yao slowly turned his head to Obito. I'm sorry, the person I brought in disturbed you. There's nothing you can do about it. Who gave me the same eyes as you? Saying that, Feng Yao revealed the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, which he could usually hide. The blood-red eyes had black lines like triangular shuriken darts, and the masked man widened his eyes. This masked man is Uchiha Obito, a tragic character. After Feng Yao obtained the Shinwei space, he always thought that his space was separate, but it turned out to be sharing the same space with Obito. How did you get that eye? No, even if you had that eye, you couldn't have got me here. How did you do it? When Obito asked the handsome man in front of him, his first reaction was that the other party took Kakashi's eyes. But the right eye is obviously his own, so how could the other party have the same eyes as his own? Well, it's troublesome after all, but what I want to tell you is that your space, oh no, it's mine, and I'll use it often in the future, so don't always come in if you're okay, let alone disturb me. People. Feng Yao said his request calmly. He didn't want him to let someone in the future, and then be led away or hammered to death. Obito laughed when he heard that the other party was so arrogant and angry. Ha ha ha, joke. No matter how you got those eyes, it's just right. I want your left eye. After speaking, Obito's right eye turned again. Kamui continued to create a vortex-like twisted space and cause a strong whirlwind, and then release the fire to cooperate. Fire escape, bursting wind and dancing. The huge flame takes the shape of a flaming snake, and it can swallow and burn the enemy in an instant. Whether it is speed, range or power, it is first class, and it is an extremely terrifying and powerful fire escape. It can even be extinguished by Madara's arrogant fire. Feng Yao threw several trident kunai, used the technique of Flying Thunder God to start moving quickly, and at the same time threw flash bombs in the middle. 3 styles of spiral flash super wheel dance and roar. The dazzling yellow electric light blocked Obito's line of sight, and he recognized this technique, which was the famed technique of his master Namikaze Minato. If you continue to use Burst Wind Flurry, you may be directly killed by the opponent taking advantage of the time of materialization. Sure enough, as soon as he stopped ninjutsu, a kunai slashed across his neck, and Obito in the strong light could only maintain the blur to save his life. But it can't last long. The other party must also know the secret that the blur can only last for 5 minutes. This time, Obito was in a deadlock. He would be attacked by the opponent when he released the blur. If he used divine power to leave, he would still be attacked by the opponent when he materialized, which put him in a dilemma. Seeing that Obito seemed to hesitate, Feng Yao stopped his ninjutsu. Do you understand now? I know all your secrets, although I may not kill you. But what do you think would happen if I told the 5 major countries your secrets and purpose, such as the Moon Eye Project? Feng Yao said to Obito playfully. What? You, how much do you know? Obito's tone panicked for the first time. If it is only shock that the other party has the same eyes as his own, then now it is a trace of fear. There are no more than 3 people in the entire ninja world who know about this. I agreed to your conditions. I will not come to this space at will, nor will I do anything to the people inside. Obito's tone began to slow down. That's it, then I'll keep it a secret for you. After that, he took Orochimaru and left. He also didn't have full confidence in killing Obito. Izanagi, the same avatar ability as himself, and the fan of flames, hadn't used Obito very much yet. Orochimaru is more curious about Feng Yao, writing about the secrets of round eyes, tailed beasts, and mysterious spaces. He feels that the person in front of him seems to be the key to his eternal life and truth. Uchiha Obito stood on the spot. He didn't understand who the mysterious person who suddenly appeared was wholly. The other party seemed to be omniscient and omnipotent, and if he was his enemy, it would definitely be a nightmare. Obito muttered to himself. It seems that the plan needs to be advanced. Wait for me. Chapter 43-Conquer Orochimaru. Take Orochimaru to another open space. After letting him go, Orochimaru immediately kept a safe distance from Feng Yao. Feng Yao smiled and said, "What's the matter, Orochimaru, are you so cautious? Or are you afraid of dying here?" Now Feng Yao's eyes have returned to blue pupils, but this makes Orochimaru even more afraid. He has long known that the other party can use his pupil technique without turning on the kaleidoscope. Orochimaru immediately responded, "Yaojun is too underestimated. I can't be too cautious when dealing with you, but you are wrong about one thing. I'm not afraid of death. Even if I die, there is still a chance resurrected." Orochimaru naturally relies on the curse mark. It can be said that his research on the curse mark has been very advanced. Even if he is sealed by the legendary Ten-Fist Sword in the original book, he can still be resurrected. Really? After I killed your disciples who possess the imprint of the heaven and earth, you can also be resurrected, right? Feng Yao waved his hand and sat on the ground without hesitation. Orochimaru broke out in a cold sweat when he heard it, and there was no more thinking in his mind at this moment. Why does the other party know about this matter? Even if he knows the curse mark, I have never told anyone about the resurrection of the curse mark. Could it be that Feng Yao can predict the past and the future? Thinking of Orochimaru here, it feels as if my body has been hollowed out, and everything is exposed to the air. Of course, Feng Yao couldn't have imagined that Orochimaru was overdoing it. He just wanted Orochimaru to know that he had the ability to make him die. Looking at Orochimaru's face, Feng Yao expressed his satisfaction. He spoke again. This time he was going to talk about Orochimaru's ideals and pursuits. Orochimaru, I know that you are a curious person. Everything you do is to explore the truth of the world, but it will take time, so you will create a kind of immortal reincarnation that can transfer your spirit to other people's bodies. The forbidden art of immortality. You also want to explore the secrets of my body. That's why you want to take my body, right? Feng Yao's words revealed Orochimaru's thoughts, and it scared Orochimaru to the core. He roared in his heart, "It's no wonder that he knows all my calculations and thoughts, and he actually knows the ninjutsu to predict the past and the future." Orochimaru has been defeated in his mood. He feels that Feng Yao has understood everything about him, and his eyes seem to have seen his future. For the first time, he said in a trembling voice, "Yao Jun, you are right. You arrested me but didn't kill me. What exactly did you do?" At this moment, he wants to know what Feng Yao wants to do now. His life and death are in the other's mind. It's very simple, Orochimaru, be my right and left hand. I will lead you to explore the origin of the world, master the mysteries of the ninja world, and I will work with you to create the ultimate life entity. Feng Yao was so arrogant when he spoke, and even Orochimaru couldn't help but be infected. He lowered his head and thought about it. Since the man in front of me can predict the past and the future, then whether I follow him or not, does he already have the answer? If so, then I am afraid that I can successfully complete my ideal by following him. Thinking of this, Orochimaru also took a few breaths of excitement. He has always been exploring the road of science alone, which is equivalent to a pioneer of the revolution, but now there is a leader who leads him. When he looked at Feng Yao, it was no longer greed and trickery, but sincere respect. Whether I answer or not, you should already know it. Ah, how do I know if you answer or not? If I want to know, I still have to ask you. Feng Yao wondered in his heart. I am willing to be your right and left hand, Yaojun. I want to see how far the two of us can go together. Please forgive me for what happened before. After speaking, he bowed deeply. Seeing this scene, Feng Yaolong laughed and helped Orochimaru up. Get up, Orochimaru, you will be happy for your choice today, take this one. After speaking, he took out a ring engraved with the word, Earth, and put it on Orochimaru's hand, which also symbolized the second in command of the fairy. The first thing Feng Yao did after that was to take Orochimaru to see the loot he had captured in Konoha, a scroll of forbidden art like a hill. Orochimaru's eyes lit up when he saw it. He had only peeked at these forbidden techniques before, but he had not mastered them all, and Konoha must have added many new ninjutsu techniques in recent years. Originally, part of the reason why Orochimaru attacked Konoha was for these forbidden scrolls, but Feng Yao had already prepared it. He was even more convinced that Feng Yao had a kind of ninjutsu that could predict the future, and was grateful for his choice. Yo-kun, these ninjutsu are amazing. I think it will take me a long time to fully master them. Looking at the excited Orochimaru, Feng Yao smiled slightly and then said, you have a lot of time for these techniques. I hope that I can use them to improve the organization's combat capabilities later. Can it be done within 2 years? Don't worry Yaojun, there are many secret techniques to improve your strength. You will have a strong team in less than 2 years. Hearing Feng Yao's request, Orochimaru made a promise without hesitation. Hearing Orochimaru's assurance, Feng Yao nodded with satisfaction, and Shinwei Space could not stay forever, so Feng Yao took Orochimaru back to Yinyan village. After entering the familiar underground, he saw Junmalu somewhat absent-mindedly guarding the door of the Orochimaru laboratory. He is also thinking of Orochimaru in this way. However, when he turned his head, there was a sudden light in his eyes, and the man with long hair and golden eyes appeared again. Master Orochimaru, did you come out from there? Junmaluxi was in a daze, but when he saw Feng Yao, he immediately became alert, and even rushed to Orochimaru to separate the two. He didn't want to feel this loss anymore. Master Orochimaru, with me here this time, I won't give him a chance to perform that time-space ninjutsu. As he spoke, the spell was activated. Looking at Junmalu standing in front of him, Orochimaru patted his head dotingly. It's all right Junmalu, from now on, I am Yaojun's subordinate, you should treat him like me in the future, understand? Feeling that Orochi's tone was far different from usual, he felt puzzled, and for a moment even thought that the other party was transformed by the transformation technique. I see my future in Yaojun, and I hope you can respect him as you respect me. Orochimaru saw the doubts in Junmalu's eyes, and the feminine voice sounded next time. Junmalu looked at Feng Yao in disbelief. Although he didn't understand why Orochimaru had changed so much, he would do whatever Orochimaru said. Junmalu knelt down on one knee like Feng Yao loyally. Master Feng Yao, how rude I was to you before, please forgive me, thank you for returning Master Orochimaru to me. Looking at Junmalu who was obedient to Orochimaru in front of him, Feng Yao sighed inwardly. He really likes a loyal subordinate like Junmalu, but the other party's illness is always a problem. Since there is no siege in this life Feng Ying's condition has not deteriorated as badly, but I am afraid that he will die soon. After he helped Junmalu up, he followed Orochimaru into his research room, and Feng Yao took out all the ninjutsu and forbidden books from the Shinwei Space and handed them over to Orochimaru. Even Shisui's eyes and Danzo's arm. Orochimaru was even more moved when he saw it, especially Shisui's eyes. He had personally experienced the horror of this illusion. Orochimaru is also moved by the trust Feng Yao gave him. You must know that it would be bad if Orochimaru put on his own eyes and used other gods to Feng Yao. The other party didn't guard him at all. Did you already see from the future that I would not rebel? Yao Jun, you are such a scary and mysterious man. In fact, Feng Yao just performed the Flying Thunder God technique on the eyeballs. With the guarantee, he can rest assured and leave it to Orochimaru. Of course, these are things that Orochimaru has known for a long time. Chapter 44-Kimamaro's illness. With the conquest of the top scientist, Orochimaru, the strength of the entire immortal organization also increased significantly. Moreover, Orochimaru comes with a Yinyan village, almost everything is complete, and Orochimaru also has its own sound forbearance. But to Feng Yao, they are still Orochimaru's subordinates, and he will not draw these people into the immortal organization. All he needs is the elite. After he came back, he gave the rings Zan, Huang, Yu, Zhou, and Hong to Neji, Shengren, Sajing, Do, and to Yuya, respectively. These were the real fighting power he needed. As for Junmalu, he felt very sorry. The opponent was indeed strong enough, so he came to the medical room in Do. 2's lurking work has ended, and now he is naturally in charge of research in Yinyan village. The basic personnel of the Xian organization now have 1. People who have intelligence gathering and assassination can be called Sakai and Zaibusian. 2nd, there are people who can guarantee the logistics, that is, responsible for the operation of medical and organizational funds. Shenglin, Do, and Dashuan can be responsible for this aspect. 3rd, the person who can be responsible for the strong attack needs to have strong strength. At present, I am afraid that it can only be handed over to Fengyao, Hideyoshi and Orochimaru. As for the funds collected in Konoha, Fengyao has already handed over all of them to Orochimaru. Don't underestimate Orochimaru. If you can build a ninja village, the money needed for so many strongholds is not a small amount. What's more, Orochimaru still needs to engage in scientific research, and the money needed is astronomical. If he didn't have the ability to manage funds, he would have already gone bankrupt. After opening the door, the pocket is facing the cells in the test tube for research. After seeing Fengyao, he stopped his work and pushed his glasses with a smile. Master Fengyao, why do you have time to come to me today? 2 should know Junmalu's condition best, so he wanted to ask about Junmalu's condition. Do, I know that you are very talented in medical ninjutsu. I want to ask you about Junmalu's situation and how long he can last. So you came here to ask this question. You really care about him. It's expected to be less than 2 months. This is a genetic disease of their family. Lu uses the corpse veins, which are the bones in the human body, you know. Of course, I have personally seen his ability. It is because he is strong that I feel pity to lose him. The so-called main component of bones is calcium. He created and took out so many bones from his body, and it can be seen how much calcium he has in his body, which leads to his muscle failure, and the heart is mainly muscle, so his family's disease is chronic heart muscle exhausted, and I guess that's why people in their family keep dying. I see Tilda, so is there really no other way? Hearing Do's explanation, Fengyao still asked a little less determined. There are very few people in the world who can surpass Dudu in medical ninjutsu, but not without. Fengyao suddenly thought of another person. That is Tsunade. As a person who is famous for medical ninjutsu among the 3 ninjas, her medical ability can even be said to surpass Slug Immortal. Look at the psychic beasts summoned by Miaomu Mountain and Longdi Cave. All of them are like uncles, and they need 100 sacrifices at every turn. Why does the slug sage call Tsunade an adult? Just because he admires the other party's medical ninjutsu. This gave Fengyao another thought to find Tsunade. Lord Fengyao, look at your appearance, do you already have another candidate? Seeing Fengyao's thoughtful appearance, Cao spoke again. As a spy, he is very good at observation and analysis. Seeing Fengyao thinking, do you really think of someone to save Junmalu? This is something you can't even do yourself. HMPH, that's it, Tsunade, who is one of the 3 ninjas with Orochimaru. He was surprised when he heard this. As a medical ninja, he had already heard of the other party's name. It's just that I haven't had the chance to meet each other. As far as medical ninjutsu is concerned, the current pocket is still no better than Tsunade. Otherwise, Orochimaru in the original book wouldn't look down to find Tsunade. Then, I wonder if I can go with you. I have long wanted to meet this famous Tsunade-sama. Do held up his glasses again, perhaps because he was thinking of competing with the other side. Fengyao's taste. Then come along, we are looking for Orochimaru. I still have some things for him to do. Tilda. The 2 left the medical room while talking. Fengyao informed Orochimaru of the ins and outs of the matter. That's it, Orochimaru, can you find it? After listening to Feng Yao's request, Orochimaru stopped the research work in his hand. He didn't expect the other party to be so attentive for Junmalu. In fact, he also thought about showing Tsunade Junmalu's symptoms. But he still couldn't do it to beg his former friends for others, but he didn't expect Feng Yao to pay attention to this issue within a few days. Of course, after all, one of them used to be my disciple, just for a while. Feng Yao nodded when he heard Orochimaru's reply. If he wanted Tsunade to do things for him, he had to come up with conditions that she couldn't refuse, before she was slapped by Naruto. Inside the Konoha ninja village, Jiraiya temporarily became Hokage's agent, dealing with Konoha's big and small things. Konoha's power has been weakened to the extreme this time. The 5 generations of Hokage died and the root organization perished. Anbu lost 42 people, Konoha on the death of 7 people, 104 people in the Chunin, 564 people in the next, and about 3,000 ordinary people. Mito Kadome, one of the 2 advisors, dies. All the banned books of Konoha ninjutsu were lost, which was strictly sealed by the high-level officials. Although there was no funds, there was no problem with the allocation of the Fire Nation. Fortunately, Jiraiya, one of the dignified 3 ninjas, was sitting in Konoha, which made everyone feel at ease. After paying homage to the people who died in this war, Konoha village also began to rebuild various matters. In the process of starting the discussion, the most controversial issue was the handling of Cheyenne village and the crime of Feng Yao's rebellion and tolerance. Sandian village, needless to say, provoked a war to attack Konoha, and now the 4 generations of Kazekage Luasha have been captured alive, and the attacking Shangnan and troops have suffered countless casualties. All those who were alive were sent to Konoha's prison, and some people believe that it should be a tit for tat, and took the opportunity to wipe out Cheyenne village in one fell swoop. Even Jirai had a hint of this idea, but the Lord and Pai, headed by the 3 generations, still hoped to bring Kazekage back. Alliance with Sand Hidden Village to fight against possible invasions from other countries. The 3rd generation Hokage-sama. I can't be so forgiving. What a loss they have brought us this time. If we form an alliance with them, what will the people in the village think? Let us join the enemy. A Jonin punched and gritted his teeth like the ground. His disciple died in the hands of Cheyenne village. He was only a 13-year-old child. He was stabbed several times by the people of Cheyenne village and discarded at the corner of the street. It took a day to find the body. Oh, I understand everyone's pain, but what's wrong with Cheyenne village? The war will only bring new hatred, and if Konoha's current situation is used to attack, I am afraid that Union village will take advantage of it. This war they have been seen. Looking at the man with tears in his eyes, Sandai silently took a breath of dry smoke. His cloudy eyes made it difficult for others to see what he was thinking. Xiaochun, one of the 2 remaining advisors, turned to bed and said, "The Nation of Fire has held 2 emergency meetings in a row this year. The request this time is to stop all wars and restore national strength as soon as possible. We need a leader, Jiraiya. In the Nation of Fire meeting, it has been decided to make you the 6th. On behalf of Hokage." Hearing that everyone else in the field was very excited, but unfortunately Jiraiya extended his hand and refused. "I'm sorry, I'm not suitable for this position. I already have a candidate. I will bring her back. She is more suitable than me to become the 6th Hokage, the Princess of Konoha, Tsunade." Hearing this name, there was an uproar in the hall. The names of Tsunade's medical ninjutsu and sanin were widely circulated in Konoha. If she was also one of the 3 ninjas this time, Konoha would not have lost so much. That girl does have this qualification and measure, so please bring her back. Turning to bed, Xiaochun sighed. Now there is no need to be afraid of running away. He is a person who understands the overall situation, and now Konoha can't stand the toss. What about that guy Feng Yao? He is a traitor, and he has done so many things to damage Konoha, killing the 5th Hokage, destroying the roots of Anbu, and stealing Konoha's funds. If this guy doesn't in addition, it will be like another Orochimaru in the future. Quote. A Junin suddenly opened his mouth and said that only the executives and a part of Konoha Junin knew about the cooperation between the senior officials of Konoha and Fengyao, and the theft of ninjutsu. There is no need to talk about this matter. Temporarily revoke his wanted order. If you push him to attack Konoha again, it will not be worth the loss. On this matter, all the high-level leaders are keeping the same pace, even Kakashi and other Shangrin are silent. The joint rebellion to kill the fifth-generation Hokage is a huge scandal, and it can only be sealed in history and rotted in the stomach. Chapter 45-Tsunade. Early morning a few days later. In the laboratory, the familiar whirlpool appeared out of thin air again, and Fengyao and Orochimaru appeared in the laboratory. Yaojun really didn't expect that you would also use the reincarnation technique, and it's even better than the one I used. There was still shock in Orochimaru's eyes. This forbidden technique requires a long period of practice to fully master, and he himself is only a fur. I won the prize for Orochimaru. Fengyao turned to look at Orochimaru's profile. Do you think Tsunade will agree to our request? She will. To her, these two are everything to her, and she will do whatever we ask. Fengyao nodded when he heard the words. In fact, Orochimaru was right about this. If it wasn't for Naruto's plug-in like mouth escape, Tsunade would really be like what he said. I have already sent Sai and Toho to collect information, and the time difference in Hokage is not right due to my arrival. The current Tsunade is not in Tansoji, but with her legendary title of Fat Sheep, it is not difficult to find her. Fengyao even asked about the Slug Fairy, but unfortunately the other party has not summoned it for a long time, so he has not learned any useful information. There was a knock on the door, and Sakai came in. He bowed his head slightly. Excuse me, Master Fengyao, I have found the person you are looking for. She is in Asakusa Street. Well done, thank you for your hard work. Orochimaru called Xianju and let's go together. Since Fengyao has no memory of Asakusa Street in his mind, he can only walk there. Right Eye Power's ability to move is different from Flying Thunder God. The former does not require a mark at all. As long as you have been to a certain place, you can move directly, while the latter requires a mark. However, in terms of speed, Shinwei is far inferior to Flying Thunder God, and the absorption speed of Shinwei is relatively slow, but there is a time-space ninjutsu that is an exception. It does not need any marks at all. As long as you want, you can freely shuttle in the same space, even if it is never places that have been. It is the ultimate time-space ninjutsu in Naruto, Wonkwan Hirazaka. The activation of this technique requires the power of the three major pupil techniques, which is why Fengyao will bring Neji, and now he is only short of Nagato's Samsara Eye. Asakusa Street is located in the northwest of the Country of Fire, and it takes less than half a day to pass at the speed of everyone. Inside a casino at noon. Oh, big sister, are you still following? If you lose, you'll have no money. Follow, why don't you follow me? I will win you all back. A slightly angry female voice came, and as soon as she heard it, she knew that she had lost money. Sir Tsunade, we are running out of money. We haven't paid back what we borrowed last time. Look how happy those gamblers are. Silent in the room persuaded me with a little pig beside me. Tsunade rolled up the sleeves on his arms and waved his hands. It doesn't matter, mute, you have to believe me. This time you will not only win the money back, but also make a lot of money. Tsunade is also on top now. Where can I hear it? Some of the gamblers next to him also echoed. That's it tilde if you don't lose all your money. No, you can't go without winning your money back. Ha ha. These people have long seen that the other party is the legendary Fat Sheep, and they will lose every time they gamble. In the last round, Tsunade lost his bet again, and the angry Tsunade smashed the table in half with one punch. Ah, this is really bad luck. The money was smashed into the sky, and even Mute and Xianju were startled. The other party's gambler quickly took a few steps back. Then he grinned at Tsunade and said, Sister, don't be angry, isn't it normal to win or lose in this bet? You're a little bit worse than us tilde. Tsunade's cheeks were also a little red when she heard this. She just got up and didn't pay attention to her principal. "Oh, next time I'll give you the money back." Tsunade wanted to run while perfunctory while holding mute, but the few gamblers next to him were unhappy and hurried up to block people. "Don't tell me, eldest sister, you can give it today, your reputation is ahem. In short, you can't go without giving money." "Oh tilde really, it depends on whether you can stop me." Tsunade's eyes became sharp, and just as she was about to start, a soft voice came in. "Let me give this person's gambling debts, and please don't embarrass her." Feng Yao opened the door and walked in. The focus of the audience was on him alone. Now Feng Yao is not wearing a mask, because he no longer needs to hide his identity. The facial features that are like carvings of God, the fair skin and the blue pupils make everyone in the house have the same idea. There are such good-looking people in the world. Mute and Tsunade also lost their minds for a while, but recovered quickly. Taking a look at Feng Yao, they were so used to Feng Yao's face in Yinyan village that they almost forgot how ostentatious his face was. "May I ask how much gambling debt she owes in total?" The gambler on the side also woke up and responded quickly. "Well, I owe a total of 1.2 million taels." "Oh tilde it's only 120. Ahem, you pay for this money." Hearing that the money was not given by himself at all, Feng Yao hurriedly led the way. All his money was given to Orochimaru, and he only had tens of thousands of taels on him. He looked at his boss with contempt, and finally reluctantly took out 1,200,000 taels. "This money should be reimbursed, Lord Feng Yao." Can. Hearing the complaints in Do's tone, Feng Yao repeatedly comforted him. "It's been a long time since Tsunade. I'm here this time because I have something to ask you for." "No, it should be said that my leader has something to ask you for help." Orochimaru's feminine voice came from behind Feng Yao, and Tsunade also narrowed his eyes. Then he took Tsunade to an open space. Tsunade flipped his hair and turned around and said to Feng Yao, "Tell me, what exactly are you looking for from me?" I have to say, Tsunade's figure is really the most incredible thing Feng Yao has seen since he came to Naruto World, especially the trembling arc of this turn. Feng Yao quickly shook his head, tossing away the mess in his mind. "Sir Tsunade, I would like to ask you to help me heal a child who is deeply troubled by the bloodline boundary, and at the same time I would like to invite you to join my forces." Hearing the reason why Feng Yao was looking for him, Tsunade immediately refused. "Sorry, I don't plan to join a certain faction, and according to what they call you, you are a traitor who made a mess of Konoha. You are not afraid of me when you come here. I will kill you." Saying that, he bent down and punched the ground. The terrifying strange force directly cracked the concrete floor with a diameter of 50 meters, and the bodies of Feng Yao and others also sank by a few centimeters. The use of strange power requires the caster to precisely control the chakra, concentrate the chakra on the whole body, cover the whole body with chakra, and then burst out a powerful airflow. Tsunade itself is a medical ninja and is good at the precise control of chakra, which is why Tsunade can develop the strange power so well. When he stood firm, the opposite Tsunade was already full of murderous aura. Indeed, for his own kind of rebellion and Orochimaru, Tsunade really didn't need to be polite. Feng Yao bit his fingers, and his hands formed yin, si, shu, chen together. Spirituality, reincarnation of dirty earth. Two coffins rose from the broken earth. Feng Yao's familiarity with the reincarnation of the dirty earth is not weaker than that of Orochimaru. After all, he can master all time and space ninjutsu. Don't worry, Tsunade-sama, it's not too late to see if these two are agreeing to my request. The coffin board fell, Tsunade's murderous eyes melted in a moment, leaving only tears full of love and longing. Chapter 46_Lover and Brother. A few days ago, in the prison of Konoha village. A down-and-out man with a broken arm was sitting in the corner of the cell. This person is the fourth-generation Fengying Luasha, and the only 2 or 5 boys in this war. Most of the power in his village was lost. Gaara was turned against by Feng Yao, and he was captured by Konoha. He also thought about dying, but his subordinates persuaded him. An old figure slowly walked over to the door of the cell. He looked at Luo Sha's embarrassed look in the cell and sighed. Lord Cascage, you and I are allies, why did you suddenly tear up the treaty? Luo Sha looked at the 3 generations of Hokage in front of him and sneered. The allies are just a piece of paper. Your Konoha's strength is far superior to my Cheyenne, and Danzo is even more ambitious. If I don't strike first, I'm afraid I'll be wiped out by your Konoha. The 3 generations were silent, and he knew that Danzo had indeed wanted to invade Sandian at the beginning, and once the seeds of doubt took root, it was difficult to erase them. Lord Cascage, Danzo is gone, Konoha will have a new leader. I hope our 2 countries can put aside prejudice and become allies again. Hearing this, Luo Sha has already understood the other party's purpose, and to be honest, he really has no choice in his position. After Cheyenne passed this time, he has become the last existence in the 5 villages. If he does not find an alliance or stop the war, the final result will only be annihilation. Luo Sha raised her head and laughed at herself. Lord Sandemu, you are the victors of the war. Of course, you have the final say. What choice do I have for a defeated general like me? You were wrong. 3 generations suddenly retorted Luo Sha. There are no winners in wars, only losers. 3 generations of Hokage made a pun. Luo Sha did not speak but lowered his head silently. After Sandai got out of the prison, he ran into Naruto who was noisy with Jiraiya on the side of the road. Naruto and Sasuke were rescued by Jiraiya himself after the war. After all, this is the child of his own disciple, or the village's Zuli, and Jiraiya should be concerned about every aspect. Naruto was caught in the air by Jiraiya's hand and struggled non-stop. You lecherous fairy, let me go, I'm going to find 3 generations of grandpas. Seeing the 3 generations approaching, Naruto hurriedly called for help. 3 generations of grandfather, come here. This lecherous fairy is so troublesome tilde he actually said that he is the agent of Hokage. What a joke, a badly dead adult. After he finished speaking, he kicked Jiraiya. Oops, you bastard, don't I look like Hokage? Jiraiya said with a beard and staring eyes. Ha ha ha, okay Naruto, Jiraiya is indeed the agent of Hokage during this time, so don't make a fool of yourself. Seeing Naruto in such a spirit, the 3rd generation laughed, as if the bad mood had been washed away. That 3rd generation grandfather, I have something else to ask you. Said Naruto's eyes suddenly dimmed. It's about Feng Yao, it's really him, killed the 5th generation Hokage and participated in it. Are you attacking Konoha village this time? Naruto felt that he had never seen his childhood friend clearly, and he didn't even recognize it after several encounters. The 3 generations were silent for a moment, and then nodded slightly. Naruto's fists were clenched and his nails were deeply immersed in the flesh. He seemed to finally understand the meaning of what Feng Yao said back then. If that's the case, I'll definitely catch him. Give him a hard lesson and bring him back to the village for him to apologize to those he's hurt. Seeing Naruto roaring low, Jiraiya also sighed. Now the gap between the 2 is too big, it is impossible to do it with Naruto's strength. Since Naruto is like this, do you want to practice with me tilde that friend of yours ran away when he saw me? Really, Naruto seems to have been injected with vitality again, he is holding Jiraiya's waist. Then you must teach me the most powerful ninjutsu, lecherous fairy. Oops, how many times I've said it is not a lecherous fairy. In short, pack your things and come with me, we have to find someone. Looking for someone, looking for someone. The 6th Hokage. The camera is pulled back to the current Asakusa Street. Tsunade covered her mouth in disbelief, tears streaming down her fingers. Inside the coffin is her lover Kato-dan and her younger brother Roshu. Even the silence could not stop the trembling. Is that you, uncle? Kato-dan is not only Tsunade's lover, but also Mute's uncle. Feng Yao and Orochimaru went to the battlefield of the 2nd and 3rd Ninja Wars together. I don't know how many times I tried to find the bones of the two of them, and finally succeeded summoned both of them. Feng Yao did not bind the two's personalities. When the two saw Tsunade, their dusty faces also showed a gentle smile. Kato Dan looked at Tsunade and said softly, "Tsunade, it's been a long time, I'm still wondering what these people call me for." Xianju was also surprised to see his sister. He looked around. Sister, am I not dead? The master is also there." Tsunade dreamed of seeing them countless times, even if it was just to talk to them. She rushed over and hugged the two of them and burst into tears. Mute was a little worried. Tsunade-sama has too much affection for them. "If you really agree, no, I will stop them." Mute, who already had a decision in his heart, decided to take the lead. Extremely fast tongue needle. Mute bypassed Tsunade in one step, and spit out a poisonous needle in his mouth. Judging from the stench above, it would be fatal if it got caught. This kind of hidden weapon does not need a seal, and the speed is very fast. She wants to kill Feng Yao, Orochimaru and others by surprise. Feng Yao saw the silent action, pushed the Orochimaru and Do away, turned on the blur and put the body into the different space. The poison needle passed through the body, leaving several black spots on the stone wall behind. Mist. Mute noticed the first time. Ninja, poison mist. Mute's mouth drummed slightly to prepare to release the poison mist. This trick was used on Do in the original book, spewing a large amount of poisonous gas from the mouth. As long as you inhaled a little bit, you would be killed immediately, and the doctor and the poisoner only had one thought. But Orochimaru shot, and he immediately came to Mute. Ninja, hidden shadow snake hand. Orochimaru's right arm turned into a black python, tying Mute's body and nose. Throwing the Mute aside, Orochimaru said in a feminine voice, "It's not a good habit to disturb other people's reunions. How are you thinking about Tsunade? We believe that you have already felt our sincerity. Join us." Author's digression. I have one more chapter for you today. Thank you for your follow-up reading and banknotes in the past few days. I hope you will comment and collect more. If you have any discussions or questions about this book, you can tell me in the comment area. The author will read it. Love you. Chapter 47_Will of Fire. Mute. Tsunade saw that Mute was trapped and wanted to go to the rescue. But the pharmacist's pocket blocked in front of him, and the chakra scalpel was condensed in both hands to prevent her from approaching. Now it's up to Tsunade's choice. The trembling hands showed Tsunade's inner struggle. She said in a weak voice, "If I promise, you must promise not to attack the village." Feng Yao took a step forward. Konoha had nothing of value to him, and he couldn't commit attacking Konoha. "Yes, as long as you agree to my terms." Kato, who saw this scene, understood that Feng Yao was threatening Tsunade with himself, and he stepped forward and put his hand on Tsunade's shoulder lightly. "Tsunade, I am very satisfied to see you. You must have suffered a lot when I was away. Sorry, but I can't let you choose to trade with each other for me." Saying that, Kato broke the seal of his hands and used his best spiritualization technique. This trick can turn oneself into a living soul, ignore the distance shuttle and kill the enemy's ninjutsu, can control the opponent's body and enter the spiritual world of others. Kato Dan's spiritual transformation is amazing, and can even be used briefly when the reincarnation of the dirt is over. Feng Yao just wanted to use the psychic contract to control Kato Dan, but found that his method was invalid. He charged towards the opponent in the form of a spirit body, and his firm voice resounded in the sky. "I also inherited the will of the first generation of fire. Men who target Hokage, I will not allow you to threaten my lover with my life. Endanger the village." Orochimaru just wanted to stop it, but Mute also shot. Although she was controlled, how could she be so easily restrained as a female ninja whose strength is comparable to the elite Junin? She condensed a poisoned scalpel in her hands, and she could prepare the poison she needed from the existing poison in her body and then implant it into others. Dan Kato's spiritualization technique gave her a chance, and she took the opportunity to inject poison into the black python that bound her. Orochimaru withdrew his right hand in pain, and the whole hand was already black and purple. But Orochimaru uses snakes himself, and naturally he has a deep understanding of poison. The silent poison can't kill him, but it can still make him unable to maintain the latent shadow snake hand. Well done, Mute. Kato Dan used the time he had won to fly to Feng Yao, and he was about to enter Feng Yao's body, but he was empty. Of course Feng Yao used the blur to escape, but he was also quite annoyed at the moment, but soon calmed down. This may be a sparse one. He threatened Tsunade himself, causing the opponent to ignite the will of fire, forcibly breaking free from the shackles of the reincarnation of the dirty earth, and using the technique of spiritualization to briefly fight with himself. But it doesn't matter, the other party's chakra won't last long, and it will end soon. Seeing that Kato's spiritual body was unsuccessful, he immediately changed direction and rushed over. Bo, be careful of this guy's spiritual body, he can enter your spiritual world and control your body. Feng Yao immediately reminded the pocket. At first glance, he was naturally preparing to stay away from the other party, but at this time, a second unexpected thing happened to Feng Yao again. A tongue emerged from the ground and wrapped around Do, controlling Do's movements. This scene came so suddenly that Do couldn't react at all. Kato Dan's spirit body entered Kato's body directly. Master Orochimaru, Master Feng Yao, I can't control my body anymore. Do's voice trembled a little. The technique of the spirit body was similar to the secret technique of the mountain family, but it would not deprive the practitioner of consciousness, but control the opponent's body. Orochimaru and Feng Yao looked at the frog tongue that affected the battle, and already knew who was coming. Come, also, why are you here? Feng Yao gritted his teeth. In the original book, the reason why Jiraiya also looked for Tsunade was that the 3 generations of Hokage died, and they came to Tsunade in order to find a new Hokage. According to Feng Yao's idea, since the 3rd generation of Megumi Hokage is still alive, then after Danzang's death, the 3rd generation should continue to serve, and of course Jiraiya will not be idle to find Tsunade. But Feng Yao also missed the calculation. 3 generations are already old, and the Fire Country daimyo cannot designate one person as the leader of the village 3 times in a row. And during the time he went to find Kato's broken body, Jiraiya had already met Tsunade yesterday, and Feng Yao came later. It's just that Tsunade refused to take over as Hokage, so he also concluded a bet with Naruto. Today, Jiraiya was about to come and chat with Tsunade, but Feng Yao found Tsunade at this time, so Jiraiya quietly followed behind to know the other party's purpose. And in Kato's spiritual transformation attack, he helped and successfully controlled the pocket. This time, it was due to the lack of Feng Yao's intelligence. He didn't send anyone to inquire about the information of the Country of Fire, and he didn't inquire about who Tsunade had met here in advance. His strength made him a little arrogant. Jiraiya also drilled out of the ground, and there was a big toad psychic beast under him. Feng Yao kid, you and I are really destined. I didn't expect you to come back to find Tsunade. This time I won't let you go easily. Hand over the ninjutsu and forbidden books recorded by Konoha's ancestors. Jiraiya stared at Feng Yao with sharp eyes. It seemed that as long as the other party dared to refuse him, he would take action without hesitation. Feng Yao first walked to Orochimaru. How about Orochimaru, is the poison suppressed? Don't worry, Yaojun's poison won't kill me. Orochimaru's gloomy response, the color of the arm has faded a lot from just now. It can be seen that this poison is not enough to pose a threat to Orochimaru. Feng Yao nodded, and then said calmly. This time it was my intelligence-gathering mistake. I was careless, but it doesn't matter, I will correct my mistake. Orochimaru seemed to know what Feng Yao wanted to do when he heard it. Are you going to kill them with those things? I'm afraid it's a bit difficult. It's okay, it's not perfect after all. And our current purpose is just to take Tsunade away. Feng Yao was noncommittal, but Mute on the opposite side snorted coldly. Stop bluffing. We now have 2-3 ninjas, Jiraiya-sama and Tsunade-sama, as well as me and my uncle, 2 elite jonin, 4 against 2. We have the advantage. Rope Tree was directly ignored, and to be honest, his strength is really only stubborn. Feng Yao did not rush to refute, but made a seal again. Spirituality, reincarnation of dirty earth. He and Orochimaru tried to summon many times on the battlefield, and naturally there were many dead bodies of strong people. Boom. This time the ground kept shaking, and a full 8 coffins were summoned. Jiraiya and the others looked ugly. It was already troublesome to deal with Feng Yao and Orochimaru, and now there are so many reincarnations of filth. Chapter 48-Accidental Number 1. Boom boom. The wooden door of the coffin slowly opened, and a cloud of dust fell to the ground. This time Feng Yao directly bound their consciousness, and if he made a mistake once, he couldn't make it a second time. Inside the coffin are the leech, firelight, and big stone of the land. The ninja of Iwa Hidden Village met by Kakashi's team at the Kamabashi Bridge. Kaori, a member of the land, the member of the Rock Hidden Village blasting team, who has a blood-limited blaster, escape. Koreans, 7 people of the first ninja swordsman, are Li Hao Xuanwan, Tongsao Yebiran, and Wu Lijinba. Yun Yin's 3rd generation Raikage. The strongest among them is the 3rd generation Raikage, and Feng Yao is also lucky to find it. This is the same as the lottery. Not everyone can win 4 Hokage at a time like the later stage of Orochimaru. Feng Yao has channeled a group of useless ninjas. Their strength is about 60% of what they were before they were alive, mainly because they don't have a good body. The strength of the reincarnation of the dirty earth is related to the quality of the body as a sacrifice and the level of the practitioner himself. If the will of the reincarnated is deprived, it will also cause their combat effectiveness to decline and become inflexible. Just like Feng Yao is now, he directly intends to control them to fight. Feng Yao patted the few people who were reincarnated in the dirt in front of him, turned his head and said to Orochimaru. Orochimaru, I want to control these guys to fight. You are going to take Tsunade over. Orochimaru responded with a sneer. Don't worry, Yao-kun, I know Tsunade's weakness. After saying this, Orochimaru bit his finger and used the software modification to charge towards Tsunade. Feng Yao also controlled the 3 generations of Raikage and the 7 ninja swords to charge towards Jiraiya. The 4 ninjas of the land spread out 2 by 2 to deal with the controlled pocket and the silence on the side. Mute didn't care about the ninja rushing towards him, but lifted up his sleeves to reveal the hidden weapon of the syringe, pulled it directly, and sent out a few poison darts and flew towards Orochimaru. You can only use this kind of hidden weapon. Then you can't stop me. Orochimaru spit out the grass pheasant sword and flew all the darts directly out of his mouth. Mute also wanted to help. Earth escape, split earth and turn palms. Too long done. But the 2 Iwakaku had already rushed in front of Shizuka, and she could no longer help Tsunade. I can only deal with the 2 reincarnated Iwanin. Orochimaru was no longer in the way, and came to Tsunade in the blink of an eye, grabbing his blood-stained hand towards Tsunade. Tsunade looked at the blood and still didn't dare to move. Even if she had seen her lover, she still couldn't get rid of the shadow of that day. Tsunade, what's wrong with you? Get out of the way. Duan Kato in the distance was besieged by 2 people, but when he saw that his lover was in deep crisis, he hurriedly shouted. But it's too late, Orochimaru is about to succeed. At this moment, a roar came from above. What are you going to do to Grandma Tsunade? A hot-blooded teenager in orange clothes emerged from the air. One of them also has a ball made of blue chakra on his right hand. Orochimaru was shocked when he saw it. This is Spiral Pill. Jiraiya actually taught him this technique. He stepped back and dodged, and Naruto fell to the ground without his target. The spiral pill in his hand smashed the ground into a small pit with a diameter of half a meter. Orochimaru sarcastically said, "It seems that I haven't fully learned it yet. I am overly worried." Looking at Orochimaru's missed opportunity, Feng Yao frowned and said in his heart, as expected of a ninja who was the #1 accidental ninja. But he was controlling the people who were reincarnated in the dirty earth to suppress Jiraiya and Mute and the others, and there was no way to support them. Feng Yao faintly felt a bad feeling in his heart, and he focused more on manipulating the 3 generations of Reikage and others to attack Jiraiya. But Jiraiya is not so easy to deal with. The Tongsao Yebiran of the 7 ninja swordsmen just failed to get a hit, and was directly seized by Jiraiya. The art of psychic, the art of collapse of the roof. Psychic came out of Toujien, and directly suppressed the Tongsao Yebiran with the momentum of Taishan pressing the top. The blunt knife, the dagger, must be slashed with a knife at close range, and then smashed with a hammer. Such a close distance is naturally the first unlucky one. Toujien also briefly blocked his vision, and the next moment, Jiraiya jumped to Toad's head with his hands and his belly swelled. Drink. Fire escape. Great flame bullet. Feng Yao asked the remaining 2 ninja swordsmen to snatch the Tongsao Yebiran out, and he didn't want to drag it down. He directly controlled the 3 generations of Reikage to cover his body with chakra and lightning, and directly used his strongest spear. Hell Assault 4 books. The blessing of Reikage made Reikage fast. The original work of Reikage of the 3rd generation used this trick to break through the defensive ninjutsu, Tudun Wanli Tuliu wall, set by the Ninja United Army and the defense set up by the Blood Base Limit Ninja Tutai. Ninjutsu, Wrong Done Stick Wall. And as the number of fingers decreases, the power of this technique will increase. Jiraiya didn't dare to take it hard, and stepped back directly, but Reikage was faster, and the 3 ninja knives and 7 people came out from under Toujien and quickly moved away to make room for Reikage. Even if this move can't defeat Jiraiya, it can seriously injure him. Poof. Reikage's arm penetrated into Jiraiya's left collarbone, and Jiraiya spit out a mouthful of blood. I can feel relieved when I see Feng Yao having a stab stroke. As for Dou's side, it's the best. Tuo is good at medical ninjutsu, attacking the inside of the enemy's body, but reincarnation is not afraid of this trick. So it's only a matter of time before the pocket is taken. Feng Yao turned his head and said, Orochimaru, I have already solved it here, I will help you in a moment. But Feng Yao suddenly felt that something was wrong. He turned his head sharply, and when he hit the seal, he found that the grass and wild bait could not be controlled. It seems that he has been hit by some kind of strange technique, and the grass and wild bait person in front of him is fake. Tong Grass Wild Bait Man, on the opposite side, also seemed to know that he had been discovered. He condensed 2 red chakra balls in his hands. Fire Escape Haoyan Spiral Pill. This is a change of adding the fire attribute to the spiral pill, making it more powerful, and it is the same reason that Naruto added the wind attribute to the spiral pill. Jiraiya also directly buckled the 2 Haoyan spiral pills on the backs of Wuli Jinna and Li Xuanwan. The terrifying power directly suppressed the 2 of them on the ground, and most of the body exploded directly, and the chakra of the fire attribute also splashed in the air. At the same time, he quickly took out the seal scroll in his hand and wrapped the 2 of them. This is also a way to crack the reincarnation of the dirty earth. Sealing the body of the reincarnated person can only stop the action of the reincarnated person, and the technique of reincarnation in the dirty earth has not been destroyed. Jiraiya stretched out his palm and spread out his fingers in the classic pose of self-introduction. Feng Yao kid, don't underestimate me as one of the 3 ninjas, I'm a dignified toad fairy tilde. Jiraiya just took advantage of the toad to block Feng Yao's vision while using the roof collapse technique. Used the shadow clone, and turned the grass and wild bait into a frog with the frog transformation technique and put it away. Disguised as Tongsao Yebiran, he was rescued by the other 2 ninja swordsmen, and took advantage of the opportunity to get close to the 2 to deal with the 2 reincarnated ninja swordsmen at once. Chapter 49 Feng Yao vs Naruto. The Jiraiya clone who was hit by Reikage also turned into smoke. Lord Jiraiya is really amazing, as expected of Sanin. Mute on the side was also surprised to see this scene. It was extremely difficult for him to deal with it, and Jiraiya had already dealt with the 3 ninjas who were reincarnated in the dirt. Although 3 ninjas were eliminated, Feng Yao did not panic at all, but showed a deep smile instead. Because now Jiraiya is already in his attack range. Flying Thunder God's Art. Feng Yao came to Jiraiya in an instant, and kunai stabbed his heart. The speed of Fei Lei Shen can be said to be the #1 ninja speed ninja. Even Jiraiya responded in a timely manner, but barely avoided the fatal wound at the last moment. Feng Yao's kuwu stabbed into Jiraiya's chest, leaving only his hand outside his body, and Jiraiya held kuwu with his right hand to let it go in every inch. But the powerful impact still caused blood to overflow from his mouth, and the people on the side were shocked when they saw it. Feng Yao jokingly said, "Jiraiya is the one who underestimates others. You shouldn't be careless no matter what opponent you meet." Jiraiya has also learned that Feng Yao will use the Flying Thunder God technique, so he took precautions and did not let Feng Yao find a chance to plant the technique. But when Feng Yao started the battle, he took a few shots of the ninja reincarnated in the dirt, and that action gave them the Flying Thunder God technique. Even though his body was sealed by Jiraiya, the art was still there, just as Jiraiya used the Tokusa Yabedo to approach the 7 ninja swordsmen. Feng Yao also used the Flying Thunder God technique on the 7 ninja swordsmen to approach Jiraiya. Jiraiya didn't expect this situation. Feng Yao grabbed Jiraiya's left hand and fixed him. The majestic vortex unfolded in the right eye, ready to directly suck Jiraiya into the Shinwei space. "No, Toad Jian sang." Jiraiya immediately called Toad for help when he saw this technique. The strong 2-horned fork next to the toad stopped Feng Yao again, and if it continued to absorb it, it might be dangerous. Feng Yao turned on the blur, and Jian smashed Jiraiya away with a fork. Toad Jian said with shame, "I'm sorry, I'm really useless." Zilai also reluctantly got up and spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood. "It's okay, I've helped a lot, thank you Toad Jian." Feng Yao is non-committal, but now that he has the upper hand, it is not so easy for Jiraiya to come back. 3 generations of Reikage continued to use, held 4 books, and rushed over, and he was always ready for the opportunity to use the Flying Thunder God raid again. When he just held Jiraiya, he had already planted the Flying Thunder God technique, so Feng Yao couldn't miss such a good opportunity. 3 generations of Reikage rushed to Jiraiya, and stretched out his palm to penetrate Jiraiya. Instead of retreating, Jiraiya bent over and hugged the waist of Sandaime Reikage. Enchantment Toad Dungeon. They were pulled together into the stomach of Miaomu Mountains, Gourd Toad, which was a space enchantment technique isolated from the outside world. If it falls into an acidic lake, it will be melted. The next 3 generations of Reikage were trapped in the enchantment by Jiraiya, but Feng Yao could use Fei Lei Shen to follow along. But the enchantment is Jiraiya's territory after all. If Feng Yao follows up rashly, it may be dangerous. This technique has only been used once in the original work of Jiraiya, so he doesn't have much information. Feng Yao turned his head to look at other battlefields. Kazuo was also controlled by the 2 Iwanin, as long as he waited for Kato Dan to end the spiritual transformation, but Orochimaru had a change. Boom! Orochimaru's body was thrown directly over, and it smashed to the ground to form a big pit. Along with him were 2 Iwanin who dealt with silence. When Feng Yao was just fighting against Jiraiya, Orochimaru used the grass pheasant sword to hit Naruto heavily. Naruto felt the threat of life and turned on the 9-tailed transformation, directly entering the state of 2-tailed. And in the battle, Tsunade's heart was untied, and the 2 worked together to defeat Orochimaru and the 2 Iwanin. But in fact, Orochimaru was not injured, and Tsunade and Naruto couldn't help him. He created a new self with Orochi substitute technique. To say why Naruto was able to turn on the 9-tailed transformation to stay sane, it would have to talk about the chakra that Feng Yao injected into him at that time, which helped Naruto control the power of the 2-tailed state, and was conscious. At this time, Feng Yao couldn't help but scolded himself for being an idiot, causing trouble for himself this time. Even the system ran out to ridicule. Hehe, the host is still too stupid in this regard. Naruto is the child of destiny in this world. You should treat him as your enemy from the beginning, not help him. Feng Yao directly refuted. All right, then according to what you said, I'm not the new villain in Hokage. According to what the host is doing now, he is indeed a villain. Quote. It's not because of your mission. Feng Yao is also taking Naruto seriously at this moment. He can't be merciful like before, and Feng Yao can be ruthless in order to accomplish his own purpose. Naruto clenched his teeth as he looked at his friend who was completely different from what he had in mind. Roaring at Feng Yao, why are you doing this? Why are you betraying the village and killing the 5th Hokage? You even want to destroy Konoha. Naruto's eyes were blood red like a demon fox, and the pupil in the middle was erect, full of suffocation. I have my own purpose, and I have already told you that if you and I meet you, don't be merciful to me. Of course, I am the same. Feng Yao's cold voice echoed in the air. Then why didn't you just kill me a few times ago? You have a chance, and I said I would beat you to half-death and drag you back. After saying the last sentence, Naruto rushed over with both feet. The terrifying force set off the dust in the sky. Multiple shadows. Naruto differentiated into nearly 2,000 shadow clones, and Orochimaru was about to jump out of the pit to deal with Naruto, but was blocked by Tsunade again. Your opponent is now me, the 6th Hokage. After speaking, the pit where Orochimaru was standing was smashed to pieces, and the huge crack spread in a corrugated shape to dozens of meters away. Orochimaru can only fight Tsunade first. Evil snakes. On the other side, Naruto also made a move. Take it, Feng Yao, Naruto's 2,000 rounds. After speaking, 2,000 Naruto attacked with both fists at the same time. This is the move that Xiao Li learned during the initial Chunin exam. Feng Yao dealt with this pure body technique, directly took out the kunai, opened the iron block to surround the whole body. Rush into the crowd and slaughter Naruto's clone, stabbing, slashing, picking, and slashing. Each blow will destroy a shadow clone. When he was about to be hit, he used the blur to dodge directly. Naruto thought that with this kind of crowd tactics, he would not be able to win Feng Yao, and soon there were only a few people left. But those few people worked in groups of 2, successfully condensing the spiral pill. This learning speed is even faster than he was in the original book, which may be the protagonist's halo. Take it, Feng Yao, Spiral Maru. Feng Yao threw Kuu away and bit his finger. Spirituality. Hard Rock Panda. This is a powerful psychic beast that even Kakashi's Rachel defended, and Naruto's Spiral Maru naturally returned without success. Roar. The panda roared, and directly used its claws to tear the few Naruto in front of him into pieces, but they were still shadow clones. The real Naruto jumped out from the soles of his feet, holding the spiral pill and pressing it towards Feng Yao. This is a common method used by Naruto, often using shadow clones to confuse others, and then taking unexpected tactics. It's a pity that Feng Yao had taken precautions against this, and he even knew his own tactics better than Naruto. The blur was turned on, and Naruto penetrated Feng Yao's body and flew towards the rear. Feng Yao turned to face Naruto's position. Magic. Feng Yao's left eye left blood, and the space at the focus began to melt and suck. If Naruto didn't take measures, his arm might be sucked directly into the divine space. In a critical situation, Naruto separated from the shadow clone again, kicked his own body, and got out of the absorption range. However, a large piece of meat was also torn off by Kamui, and the entire right hand was dyed red. Feng Yao rushed in front of Naruto, punching the iron directly into Naruto's belly. Naruto was powerless to dodge, the whole person stooped and curled up. The pain of the severe crack made it impossible to shout. He stared at Feng Yao and then fainted. Orochimaru, Tsunade and others naturally noticed this scene. Tsunade was anxious, and Orochimaru grinned. It's impossible for that kid to beat Yaojun, of course, Sadayu. Chapter 50_Kidnapped Tsunade. Orochimaru bites his fingers directly, and his hands seal high, Shu, Yu, Shen, Wei. Spirituality. 10,000 snakes. A huge python with purple stripes appeared on the ground. Feng Yao threw Naruto away and jumped up together. This is Orochimaru's favorite psychic beast. It is extremely fast and has a very high attack power. Wanshi looked around and said arrogantly, "This time I'm dealing with Tsunade, who is also a Sannin. HMPH, don't forget that I want 100 human sacrifices, Orochimaru." Hehe, don't worry Wanshi, but don't kill her directly, I need her to be useful. Orochimaru did not forget to remind Wanshi that Fengyao did so much to bring Tsunade back. Wanshi directly opened his bloody mouth and rushed over like Tsunade. Tsunade's yin seal has been completely released, the chakra accumulated in the yin seal has been completely released, and her speed and attack have been strengthened. Ninjutsu creates regeneration, the technique of 100 heroes. This is the ultimate combat medical ninjutsu that combines ninjutsu, creation and regeneration with the jutsu of 100 heroes. When this technique is activated, the curse marks spread all over the body, and the instant it is damaged, it starts to regenerate rapidly and automatically at a high speed without affecting the attack rhythm. The disadvantage is that the treatment is fully automatic and uncontrollable, and the consumption of chakra is much higher than that of ordinary medical ninjutsu. Even small injuries will regenerate, and these small injuries can be treated with ordinary medical ninjutsu or temporarily not treated. And the ninja technique creates regeneration, it will reduce the lifespan after use. She put one hand against the upper jaw of the snake, and the other hand held the tooth of the snake, the showdown between the monster and the psychic beast. Tsunade took a few hundred steps back, then stabilized his body, retracted his right hand and punched it, and thumped one snake more than 10 meters away. What a terrifying power! Fengyao couldn't help but be surprised. Tsunade still didn't stop. As one of the three ninjas, of course she also has her own psychic beast. Spirituality. Slug. A huge blue and white slug was also summoned, which looked much smaller than one snake. This was because Tsunade chakra was not enough, and only about 1/10 of the slug fairy was summoned. Master Tsunade, do you need my help? Hey, Fengyao, why are you here? The slug first said hello to Tsunade, and then saw Fengyao on the head of one snake. Seeing Slug, Fengyao said helplessly, "Lord Slug, I didn't expect you to be summoned. I have something to ask Tsunade for help this time, but she refused my request, so I'm now fighting against her. I am sorry, I might hurt you in a while." "Hey, what's the matter? Why can't we discuss it properly?" Slug was a little flustered, neither Fengyao nor Tsunade wanted to fight it. Tsunade was also surprised that Slug knew Fengyao. "Slug, although I don't know how you met, but I can't agree to his request, I hope you can help me." "Don't worry, there's still me." Zilai finally resolved that the third-generation Raikage jumped out of the barrier, and he had several wounds of different depths on his body. Light. He jumped to Tsunade's side, bit his fingers, and slammed into the ground. Spirituality. A huge toad about the size of one snake also landed on the field. It was Wenta Toad, smoking a cigarette and carrying a short sword around his waist, a short sword for its size. Toad Wenta took a puff on the chimney. "What, isn't it a day for old friends to get together?" This time, the three ninjas gathered together again, and Mute jumped to Tsunade's side, while the four rock ninjas came to Fengyao and Orochimaru with their pockets. Kato's chakra has been used up, and the pocket has returned to normal. "I am sorry, Lord Fengyao, Lord Orochimaru was really rude just now." Two took the lead in apologizing for being controlled by the enemy in the battle just now, and Fengyao shook his head to show he didn't care. He didn't even think about it. Orochimaru stood next to Fengyao and said in a low voice, "Yao Jun's current situation is quite troublesome. Why don't I hold Jiraiya for a while? How about you take the opportunity to inhale Tsunade into the Shinwei space?" Fengyao turned his head to look at Orochimaru and replied, "No need, there will always be people disturbing me. I'd better kill them all and take Tsunade away." Then he looked at the few remaining Iwanin, who has low combat power. "I don't need these combat powers anymore." Said to be in the middle of the knot, Ugly, Shen, Yin, Chen, Hai. Reincarnation of dirty earth. Solution. One after another white beams of light shot out from the reincarnated people in the dirty land, and their souls returned to the Pure Land. Sister, you just said that you were the most handsome as the 6th Hokage. Before the soul of Rope Tree left, he turned around and gave Tsunade a thumbs up. Tsunade even said with tears in his eyes, Rope Tree, my sister will inherit your legacy and be a good Hokage. The chakra in Feng Yao's body began to condense rapidly. Seeing this scene, the system seems to know what Feng Yao is thinking. Does the host plan to use that technique? Your chakra should not be enough, right? Yes, but soon enough. Speaking of Feng Yao, he grabbed a handful of food pills. This is a drug in the ninja world, which can restore energy and chakra and increase the chakra limit. Tooth and Pocket have both used it. Feng Yao directly shoved it into his mouth, and chakra recovered quickly. As for the upper limit, it did not increase much. It may only be effective for people with low strength. The current chakra is not enough to use that technique. Feng Yao thought so in his heart, so he summoned the psychic beast again. Spirituality, spirit ghost. Last time, Feng Yao lost 2 of these psychic beasts and was killed by Danzo. Now they have not been resurrected in the underworld, so Feng Yao cannot summon 5. The spirit ghost stretched out its tentacles to wrap around Orochimaru. Orochimaru was startled. Feng Yao said, don't be nervous, I'll ask you to borrow a little chakra. After talking about the chakra in Orochimaru, the chakra was extracted frantically, and then it was fed back to Feng Yao. And Feng Yao also began to seal. He used the techniques he extracted from the system to fight against the enemy, but the chakra was still a lot worse, and he could only borrow part of the chakra of Orochimaru. After the dazzling seals, tens of thousands of illusory figures suddenly appeared behind Feng Yao. Different from the shadow clones, they only look like phantoms. They stand quietly in the air, like an army. Wan Mai Mahamudra. Feng Yao thought silently in his heart. Tens of thousands of phantom shadows. Chi-Chi stretched out his right palm, raised it high and condensed into a blue light group, which was continuously intertwined and merged. Jiraiya and others all saw the horror of this move and prepared to stop it. At the same time, Feng Yao slowly pushed out his right hand like Wentai beside him. Boom! A giant blue hand condensed by chakra suddenly appeared. During the wave, the air in a radius of hundreds of meters was emptied by this blow. With a huge palm, Mrs. Wen and Jiraiya vomited blood and flew backwards thousands of meters away, crushing countless houses along the way. With a push of the giant palm, the slug immortal was pushed far away from the battlefield. He had mercy on the slug immortal Feng Yao and didn't really hurt it. Then the giant palm took advantage of the situation, and the Tsunade who was standing on top of the slug's head was firmly imprisoned. No matter how much he resisted, he couldn't break the giant hand. Only one move was used to defeat the 2 of Sannin, which shows the strength of this technique. But the consumption of chakra in this trick is terrible. Even Orochimaru contributed half of the chakra to use it. Feng Yao slowly moved the giant hand in front of him. He didn't have much chakra now, so he asked the ghost to stretch out his tentacles, absorb Tsunade's chakra, and feed it back to himself. Tsunade's chakra was absorbed in a short period of time and there was not much left. She felt that her body was slowly getting heavy, and then she fainted. The mark of the Baihao technique also faded, and Feng Yao returned to her state. He released the 10,000 Ga Mudra, and supported Tsunade who had fallen. Although Tsunade did not intend to agree to his request, Feng Yao also had his own way to make the other party submit. The goal has been achieved, so Feng Yao's right eye began to appear in the vortex of divine power, and he and Orochimaru were all included before preparing to evacuate. Feng Yao, stop for me and leave Tsunade with me. Jiraiya rushed over with a spiral pill in his hand, but he was too far away, and his injuries were not light. In the end, he arrived only a few seconds after the other party left. He angrily pressed the spiral pill to the ground, causing countless smoke and dust. When he was young, he didn't get his friend back, and when he was middle-aged, he failed to protect his beloved, which made Jiraiya also feel self-blame. Lord Jiraiya, don't get excited, let's take a look at Naruto's situation first. Mute is also very worried when he sees Tsunade being kidnapped, but listening to the other party's tone should not hurt Tsunade, then there is a chance to rescue Tsunade. Currently, the main thing is to treat the wounded, including Jiraiya. Jiraiya could only temporarily put his self-blame behind him, and checked Naruto's condition in the past. Chapter 51_Flamboyant Cells. The country of Tien, an open space in Yinyan village. Hoo, Gaara does it again. Neji is sweating and practicing against Gaara, and the two of them are geniuses from the Hyuga branch who were tricked by fate. One is Ren Zuli, who was rejected by the seal-tailed beast at birth. The two have similarities, so the two quickly became acquainted with each other in this Yinyan village. Then come again. Gaara rolled his eyes indifferently. Neji snorted coldly, opened the Bagua array to wrap Gaara, and shot out a chakra shock wave with her hands. Soft boxing method. Bagua empty palm. This is a soft boxing technique that can be attacked from the air. As a member of the branch family, Neji cannot learn the secrets of the clan, but in the various Konoha ninjutsu captured by Feng Yao, there are also some soft boxing techniques of the Hyuga family, which makes Neji's progress came by leaps and bounds. But the opponent was Gaara after all. The battle lasted for half a column of incense. Gaara was not injured, but Neji was sweating. Let's rest today, one day I will defeat you easily. Neji didn't admit defeat, but made an appointment with Gaara to fight another day. What a great guy. Gaara's heart was also surprised by Neji's rapid progress. Just as the two were about to leave together, the space in front of them suddenly swirled in a vortex. They had already seen Feng Yao's time-space ninjutsu, and they were not surprised to see this scene. Sure enough, a familiar aura came from the vortex of space, and the exhausted spirit from the fight just now was nourished as if it had encountered nectar. Feng Yao supported Tsunade and returned to Yinyan village with Orochimaru and others. Mr. Feng Yao, you are back. The two of Neji greeted each other one after another, and when they saw Feng Yao supporting someone, they knew that Feng Yao went out to find a medical ninja for Junmalu. Master Feng Yao, is this Master Tsunade, one of the legendary 3 ninjas you mentioned? Well, although I encountered a little trouble, I managed to solve it successfully. Saying that, Feng Yao handed Tsunade to the pocket, lock her up first, and tell me when she wakes up. Hearing the order, Kaoru took Tsunade to the prison in Yinyan village. Orochimaru, come with me to your laboratory. If Tsunade refuses to give in, we, HS. Halfway through the sentence, Feng Yao's eyes suddenly stinged, and even his vision was in a trance. One time. Although it was extremely painful for a short time, it soon disappeared. Feng Yao was helpless. It seems that this is a side effect of using Shinwei too many kaleidoscopes. Power is always accompanied by huge risks. The more times you use it, the faster the day of blindness will come. The system can naturally know everything about Feng Yao in Feng Yao's mind. The host wants to solve this problem only by transplanting the eyes of relatives to form an eternal kaleidoscope, or transplanting intercolumnar cells. The host has no relatives. If you want to stabilize this situation, you can only choose to fuse intercolumnar cells. Feng Yao said with contempt, I've known about this kind of thing for a long time. If it really doesn't work, I can only choose the intercolumnar cells on that arm for transplantation. Orochimaru was also surprised to see Feng Yao's painful appearance just now. Feng Yao should not have been injured in the battle just now. Yao Jun, what's wrong with you? You seem to be in great pain. Feng Yao told Orochimaru the secret of Sharanyan and how to evolve into an eternal kaleidoscope. So it is then I can extract the cells between the columns from that arm, but it is very difficult for the cells between the columns to fuse. Back then, I caught 60 experimental babies and wanted to get the cells between the columns. Strength, but all failed. No, one of them was actually successful, but you don't know that. He was adopted by Danzo and is now a member of Anbu. Besides, my physique is special, so the cells between the columns will not reject me. Feng Yao also told Orochimaru truthfully about this matter. When Orochimaru heard that Feng Yao even knew this kind of secret, he was more convinced that the other party had ninjutsu to know the past, and immediately reacted. This old Danzo is really cunning, so the experimental subject should be one of the few people in the world who can fuse and use intercolumnar cells. Feng Yao smiled slightly and thought, I hope you can say the same thing when you see 100,000 Baiju in the future. Then the two walked into Orochimaru's laboratory, which contained many bottles and jars of culture medium. There are several writing wheel eyes and the water-stopping eye in the culture medium. The slightly larger container on the other side is the arm of Danzo. Orochimaru said that it takes a little time to completely extract the cells between the columns. Feng Yao took out the container with water-stopping eyes. Tsunade said that if he refused, then he could only use other gods, but he couldn't use it himself, so he needed a trustworthy person. Feng Yao glanced at Orochimaru with deep meaning. Orochimaru, after Tsunade wakes up, I am going to use other gods to control her to serve me. Who do you think would be more appropriate? It can be said that this kind of power will not be reassured by anyone, even if Orochimaru has been loyal to himself. If it wasn't for Feng Yao, who really couldn't use it, he would never give it to others. Orochimaru thought more. Yaojun can predict the past and the future, so why doesn't he use it himself, or is he testing me? Orochimaru immediately sternly said, this kind of power naturally still has to be used prudently. There are not too many of us who are good at illusions here. What do you think about it? She can master illusions herself, but, said half of the big snake. Maru stopped. But what? But she is not a member of the Uchiha family after all, and without the boundaries of blood, I am afraid it will be difficult for her to control Shisui's eyes. Orochimaru's worries are not unreasonable. Kakashi is like this, although he has a writing wheel, but he can't turn it off, and he can't perfectly grasp his power. Thinking of this, Feng Yao is also a little troubled. At this time, the voice of the system came over. What is the host worrying about? You can transplant your cells to Tayuya. Your physique can fuse with any cells in the Naruto world without rejection, and they can become stronger because of this. Feng Yao's brain is full of black lines. No, since my cells are so good, can they stand it? Not like the intercolumnar cells, transplant it and kill people in minutes. The host looks down on himself too much. Your physique is only much higher than the physique in Hokage, and the strength of cells is still far behind. Silently giving the system a middle finger, Feng Yao turned to Orochimaru and said, extract my cells and transplant them to Duoyuya, so that she can control Zishui's writing wheel. Oh, underscore. When Orochimaru heard this, he was very excited. He had wanted to study Feng Yao's cells and body for a long time, but he never knew how to say it, because Feng Yao was not from the Uchiha family, but he could use the wheel eye perfectly, and his physique could make people. He finally had a chance to explore the reason for his concentration. Orochimaru took out a needle tube and started preparations. After half a day of hard work, Orochimaru finally completed the extraction. Put Feng Yao's cells on the instrument to observe. It's perfect. Not only is it extremely active, but also the cells are highly compatible and will not reject the host. Orochimaru stared at Feng Yao frantically. Yao Jun, if you agree, I want all the members of the Immortal Organization to transplant some of your cells to enhance their strength. Looking at Orochimaru's somewhat crazy eyes, Feng Yao had no doubt that if he refused, he would have to rely on him all the time. Okay, I agree, get the cells between the columns out of the arm as soon as possible. After finishing speaking, Feng Yao walked out of the laboratory without looking back, leaving Orochimaru alone to watch the cells get excited. Inside Konoha village, Jiraiya and Naruto returned to the village decadently. The third generation took a cigarette and listened to the report with a sad face. Oh, that's it, that kid Xiaojing. 3 generations of grandfathers, we must send someone to rescue Grandma Tsunade. Naruto stepped up to speak first, and Mute also bowed his head and asked. But the third generation shook his head. The strength of Orochimaru and Feng Yao's combination is no longer something that ordinary teams can pick up. Now Konoha's high-end combat power is extremely lacking, and it is impossible to dispatch Jonin. Jiraiya's face was ashes. He had known the result for a long time, and he turned around and prepared to leave with Naruto. Jiraiya, just when Konoha needs you, Union Village is ready to attack. The 3 generations have to leave when they see Jiraiya, and the export is stopped, just because the current Konoha really needs Jiraiya's fighting power. Zillai also showed a miserable smile. I understand, I will be near the village. After speaking, he left with Naruto and mute without looking back. Chapter 52_No God. Orochimaru shows off the style of the first scientist in the Naruto world. In just one day, the intercolumnar cells in Tuanzang's arm have been perfectly extracted. Really powerful cells, as expected of an immortal body. If I combine a force, my resilience will probably increase a lot. Feng Yao also used the instrument to see the cells between the columns. Unlike his own, the strength of each cell was far superior to himself, and it was very domineering. Yaojun, your cells don't need his difference, then I'll transplant it for you. Saying that Feng Yao was lying on the bed, Orochimaru connected some small tubes for him, and began to inject his cells. Feng Yao felt a cell with powerful vitality in his body, and even wanted to devour his own body. However, the cells that encounter Feng Yao fuse with each other, thus forming a more powerful force. His physical energy has been greatly improved, and he can already suppress the side effects of the kaleidoscope shaker. The amount of chakra and resilience are also improved along with it. Now I am afraid that I can use the chakra of Wanwo without the need for Orochimaru. Waiting for the injection of all the intercolumnar cells to be completed, Feng Yao's entire body was reborn, and he spit out a turbid airway. No wonder so many people yearn for the power of Hashima, it's really satisfying. Orochimaru sensed the surging aura on Feng Yao's body in front of him, and said, Hey Yaojun, you have to say that your strength is incredible. How terrifying the cells in the column are, ordinary people will be swallowed directly. Don't compliment me, let Taiyu also come over, transplant my cells and intercolumnar cells to her, and finally let her use other gods to control Tsunade. Orochimaru nodded directly and agreed. He sent someone to contact Tayuya. At this moment, Tsunade had woken up from the prison. She slammed the door of the prison angrily, but chakra did not recover, and her strength was not much stronger than that of ordinary girls. Master Tsunade, don't bother, the setting in this cell is very special, it will keep draining people's chakra, you can't get out, of course if you agree at Lord Feng Yao's request, I can let you go right away. Tsunade said angrily, at this moment, do you think I will agree to your terms? I will not let you go, in the name of my Sannin, in the name of the 6th Hokage. That being the case, let's wait and see. Pocket spread his hands and ignored Tsunade. Duoyu also came to Orochimaru's laboratory, and when she saw Feng Yao also showed a cute smile to her. She lightly stroked her red hair with her right hand. Lord Feng Yao, you are here too. Is there something you are looking for from me? Tayuya's eyes have been fixed on Feng Yao and never left, selectively forgetting that Orochimaru asked him to come. Ahem, Duoyu also asked you to come this time. It's because Yao Jun wants to give you a chance to become stronger. Would you like to? Orochimaru coughed lightly to attract Tayuya's attention, and immediately nodded when he heard that he could become stronger. I am willing, as long as I can be a help to Lord Feng Yao, I am willing to do anything. With this clear indication of Kai Guago, Feng Yao is also a little bit overwhelmed. Nodded hurriedly, very good, the first step I need to let you transplant my cells. Duoyu also had red cheeks after hearing this, and thought to himself, the transplanted cells, the cells of Lord Feng Yao. Doesn't that mean that I and Lord Feng Yao are one body? Ah, I'm so shy. She covered her face and said shyly, well, okay, I'm willing. Lord Feng Yao. Orochimaru hurriedly interrupted, then let's start. He was always very keen on experiments, but he was not successful in the past, and now it is different. Saying that, I followed the steps just now, but this time it was replaced with Feng Yao's cells in the container. Orochimaru has cultivated a lot of Feng Yao cells in a short period of time, and the fusion is very smooth, but in the end, after occupying 20% of the cells in Duo Yuya's body, no matter how to inject it, it could not be successful. Feng Yao wondered, "System, what's the situation?" The physique is also linked to the host's cells. Others don't have a mind and body, so 20% of the cells can be transplanted as the limit. Orochimaru was even more puzzled, which subverted his scientist's cognition. It's weird, because the compatibility of Yaojun's cells shouldn't be like this. He looked suspiciously like Feng Yao. Feng Yao solves the puzzle for Orochimaru. Cough, my physique is a bit special. Without my physique, I can only transplant so many. In short, it is enough to transplant intercolumnar cells and use other gods. The next steps were smooth sailing, and Duoyu also transplanted Shishui's eyes. And it perfectly inherits the intercolumn cells in the writing wheel, instead of being reluctant like Danzo or unable to close it like Kakashi. Duoyu also slowly removed the gauze on her eyes. Not only did she get a huge improvement in chakra, but she also had a writing wheel eye, which was a powerful battle force. Master Feng Yao, did I succeed? Duoyu felt the changes in his body in disbelief. Of course, you have worked hard, get used to the strength first, and I have something for you to do tomorrow. Feng Yao touched Tayuya's hair. The newly transplanted Tayuya still needs to get used to it. Feng Yao decided to let Tayuya take a day off, and use other gods on Tsunade tomorrow. Duoyu also blushed and whispered, "Don't worry, I won't let you down, Lord Feng Yao." After speaking, he gently wrapped Feng Yao's waist with his hands. "Haha, Yaojun, this child really likes you." Orochimaru couldn't help but sneered when he saw it. Duoyu also heard the words of Orochimaru and said in a hurry, Big. Lord Orochimaru, what are you talking about? Lord Feng Yao, of course the adults are very popular. Everyone, I like it." Feng Yao patted Duoyu's head and said softly, "Okay Tilda, hurry up and rest." "Well, Lord Feng Yao, I'll be here tomorrow." After saying that, he bowed and left. In the dungeon, Tsunade lay weakly in the corner. A few footsteps came. "Master Orochimaru, Master Feng Yao, you are here." He warmly welcomed him. Tsunade struggled to open his eyes. Feng Yao and Orochimaru are looking at her. "Master Tsunade, I respect your name of Sanin, so I am willing to give you another chance to join my forces." Tsunade looked at it and sneered, "I have nothing to say to you Konoha rebels. Come on if you have any means." Feng Yao said regretfully, "What a pity, Tayuya, use it." Duoyu, who was on the side, also walked out from Feng Yao's side, and the Sengo jade in his right eye suddenly began to transform into a shuriken dart with black lines and 4 corners. Duoyu said disdainfully, "It is your honor to be the help of Lord Feng Yao. Since you dare to refuse, then become my puppet." As he spoke, bloodshot eyes filled his right eye. "Don't be a god." Tsunade even reacted very strongly, but the next moment he stood up and saluted Feng Yao. "Sorry, Feng Yao-sama, I was too rude before, I will now help you see the child who needs healing." This is the horror of other gods. Modifying the will of the other party can turn others into puppets without knowing it. Taiyu also changed Tsunade's will to the will of allegiance to Fuyao. But it's different from the water-stopping eye in Itachi. Each member of the Uchiha family will have 2 kaleidoscopes with different abilities, such as Itachi's Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, Sasuke's Amaterasu and Kagudaming. Although Tayuya's eye can control others, it needs to spend a little chakra to maintain the illusion, just like the original Danzo did to Mifune. At that time, he had been maintaining the water-stopping writing wheel, and after being seen through, he stopped the illusion. Lifted. The same is true for Taiyu now, maintaining illusions. Itachi's one can be used directly, and there is no need to maintain chakra output. After all, Itachi gave a crow at that time, and it could not always output chakra to Itachi. In comparison, Itachi's one is better to use, but for Feng Yao, as long as the purpose is achieved. "Well, Tsunade will follow you after Tayuya, let's go to Junmaru's place together." In a medical room, Junmalu was lying on a hospital bed with various tubes inserted into his body to maintain his life. Feng Yao pushed the door and walked in, followed by Tsunade, Orochimaru and others. Junmalu, congratulations that you won't die. I have found someone who can save you. Chapter 53 Target Yuyan Village. Master Feng Yao, you are not lying to me. Although Junmalu's voice was hoarse, it contained a hint of excitement. Feng Yao motioned Tsunade to go over. Don't worry, you will be cured, and then you can continue to work for Orochimaru for me. As soon as Orochimaru heard this, he knew that Feng Yao was appreciating Junmalu's strength, and he gave up the idea of using him as a container. After all, he was now able to master the intercolumnar cells. Wouldn't it be perfect to use Feng Yao's cells and intercolumnar cells to fuse and clone an artificial human container? He licked his lips thinking of this. Orochimaru stayed and said, although it is indeed serious, it is not without a chance. He said that the green chakra light shone in his hands, which lasted for a cup of tea. Tsunade stopped and said, I will mix a potion with medical ninjutsu to help you slow down the calcium in your body, and at the same time you need to strengthen your muscles, otherwise your heart may still fail. Tu also watched quietly. This is the gap in experience. Tu has encountered too few illnesses, but in terms of talent, Tu may even be better than Tsunade. Feng Yao took out 2 rings engraved with Huang and Sun, and gave them to Junmalu and Tsunade. Now the task of establishing a fairy organization is only 4 people away. And the remaining person Feng Yao also had a candidate. He took Orochimaru to the outside, and Tsunade and others left behind to treat Junmalu. The Konoha matter has basically come to an end, and Feng Yao finally has time to take a good rest. At this time, the voice of the system was very ignorant of the current affairs. Congratulations to the host for triggering the quest. Gather the 3 major pupil techniques. Mission objective. Capture one of Nagato's reincarnation eyes and gather the 3 major pupil techniques. Reward. Double chakra. Time. 3 months. Slogan. Young man, include all the pupil techniques in Hokage. Feng Yao's veins burst again. Are you kidding me? He really wanted Nagato's samsara eye, but there was no need to grab it when Akatsuki was at its peak. In this situation, you asked me to grab the samsara eye. Do you think I am Madara Uchiha or Naruto Uzumaki? Wouldn't it be death to go up? In fact, this is an exaggeration. There is basically no flying thunder god and dual gods that can kill Feng Yao, but being able to run does not mean that you can fight. The progress of the host's task is too slow. The system has been sending the task after a long time. Please complete it as soon as possible. Feng Yao's good mood for helping Junmalu to subdue Tsunade disappeared instantly, but there was no way the system could open the back door with him. The task of subduing the 5th generation of Mizukage Terumime had to be put on hold again, but fortunately that task was quite long. And, Xian, can get together with a few remaining personnel, and he pondered for a moment. Orochimaru, you joined Akatsuki before. Orochimaru was shocked when he heard this, but it was no surprise that Feng Yao knew this kind of thing. In his opinion, Feng Yao was omniscient and omnipotent. He respectfully responded, I joined Xiao for a while in order to covet the power of the Wheel Eye, but unfortunately I failed. I have no contact with them now, please rest assured Yaojun. Feng Yao smiled slightly, with a meaningful smile on his face. Of course I know, but I don't want to pursue this matter. I want to attack Akatsuki's lair. What? Akatsuki's nest? If Yaojun is you, you should know the strength of that organization. It is a mercenary team composed of S-rank rebels from various countries. Their combined strength can instantly destroy a country. I'm afraid my current ability is a little dangerous, and I've never heard of Akatsuki's nest. At the end of the speech, Orochimaru's tone had begun to hesitate. He didn't understand why Feng Yao would choose such a dangerous action. Feng Yao said solemnly, of course I know their strength very well, but I need the power of Samsara Eye, which is Akatsuki's leader. As for their nest in Yuyan village, although it is dangerous, not all Akatsuki members are there. So we have a chance. Quote. If Feng Yao can really gather the three major pupil skills, then he can also open the ultimate time-space ninjutsu Wangquan Hirazaka, so that he can quickly shuttle between the country of water and the village of sound hidden. At first glance, it may seem acceptable, but the task is indeed very difficult. Hearing this, Orochimaru raised his brows and applauded. As expected of Yaojun, after you have the cells between the columns, you will have to touch the power of the Samsara Eye. What a bold idea! Just now, Orochimaru didn't understand Feng Yao's purpose, but now that he understands, not only did he not object, but he was eager to try it. By Feng Yao's side, he had already indirectly mastered the power of intercolumnar cells and the power of the writing wheel, and now he can have the opportunity to study the legendary six paths, the reincarnation eye of the immortal, which of course excites him. Feng Yao shook his head and said, "Of course, it's not that easy. We still need to plan. Let me tell you their abilities. This kind of battle information is very important. Konoha once did not know how many people died in order to explore the ability of Pen's six paths, but they did not have any secrets for them as a traveler." So Feng Yao told Orochimaru about the abilities of each member of Xiao's organization, each of Pain's six paths, and the manipulator behind it being Nagato. Of course, Obito didn't say anything about it, he just thought it was unnecessary. After listening to Orochimaru, he suddenly realized, so it is, Pen's six paths of reincarnation, really terrifying abilities. Samsara Eye really lives up to its reputation, so I'm afraid it's still very difficult for us to win. Feng Yao's eyes were faint, and he said in his mouth, "Of course it's hard to win, so we still need a lot of other powers, including all the people I brought, to be well trained, and their future achievements are not even inferior to those monsters in Shaoli." Orochimaru smiled softly. "Don't worry, Yaojun, with the cooperation of your cells and my technology, these people will soon be available to us. At that time, I will plant a spell on them to enhance their strength." Feng Yao nodded slightly. To be honest, the spell seal is just a degraded version of immortal art, made from the body fluid extracted from Changwu. Shigego and his clan are born with a special constitution that incorporates natural energy into themselves, but because they have not systematically learned how to control this power, they often go berserk. They call it immortalization, similar to the immortal mode, and this energy actually comes from Longdi Cave. Orochimaru gave other people the ability to learn this ability by giving it a spell, and it should be no problem to bear it with the aptitude of Ningji and others. Yuyin Village. The sky was dark, raindrops continued to fall from the sky, and there were occasional thunderous sounds. With the light of thunder, on a high tower made of metal, a young man with orange hair, covered with weird black sticks, and dressed in a black robe and red cloud decoration is standing outside, looking at everything under his feet. And his eyes are the supreme reincarnation eyes of the three major pupils. He spoke slowly, without any human emotion in his tone. "Are you ready to make a move now? I'm afraid the funds raised are still quite a bit short." The figure in the dark responded, "Union Village will start a war soon this time. This is a good opportunity to fish in troubled waters, and someone seems to have discovered our plan, so it must be ahead of schedule." Tiandao Pain turned his head slowly and looked at the figure on the opposite side. "I will order Akatsuki's members to start the capture of the tailed beast, and let this world breed peace in the painful reincarnation." Inside the Hokage hall of Konoha village. Turning to bed, Xiaochun frowned and said, "What? Jiraiya is not willing to take over as Hokage. What is he doing? Doesn't he know the current situation of the Fire Kingdom and Konoha? It is really unacceptable that Tsunade-sama was taken away, and I think Jiraiya-sama is also very sad." Konoha's genius strategist Nara Shikahisa defended Jiraiya. "Don't talk too much about Jiraiya, he has promised not to stay away from the village, don't embarrass him. 3 generations took a cigarette, he knew the pain in Jiraiya's heart, it is impossible for him to become Hokage now. The village can't be without Hokage for a day, let's all recommend it." Nara Shikahisa was the first to speak. "I recommend Hatake Kakashi to become the 6th Hokage. I recommend Tsurugi Asuma." After some discussions, Kakashi was finally appointed as the 6th Hokage. The original 7th class was disbanded. Sakura handed over to the Red Squad to fill the vacancy of Neji. Sasuke was the follower of the 6th Hokage, and Naruto followed. Self-cultivation. The 7th class of Destiny has since separated. Chapter 54 On the faint stone wall, there is a little faint fire. These firelights are not big, the small ones are like fireflies, and the big ones are like lanterns. They exuded icy green flames, and the tragic green flames reflected on the faces of Fungyao, Orochimaru, and Junmalu. Under the careful care of Tsunade, Junmalu has recovered a lot now, at least his life will not be threatened by death, so this time he is also with the two of them. This is the lowest level close to the Orochimaru base. There is only one cell here, the deepest cell. And here is the source of the curse mark, Libra Changwu. His body is very special and has the ability to absorb natural energy, i.e. immortalization. Once they stay in a place with supernatural energy, they will become immortals, but they will go berserk and kill people because they cannot control them. So if he is locked here, the natural energy underground is scarce, and the possibility of losing control will be much smaller, but it is not impossible. In the original book, he lost his spiritual support because of the death of Junmalu, and went to the northern stronghold to lock himself up. Now that Junmalu is not dead, he is still imprisoned here. Fungyao immediately expressed that he would bring Changwu under his command. Changwu is also one of Fengyao's default players, a trio of Yuanying squad. Junmalu stepped forward to Fungyao and said, "Master Fungyao, it is easy for Changwu to lose control of his temper. If he offends you, please forgive me, and I will tell him. It doesn't matter, I'm here to convince him. If he wants to do something to me, it's fine. You're not allowed to do it, understand?" Fungyao straightened his body, his eyes flashed with fighting intent. After the intercolumnar cells were transplanted, he hadn't touched it yet. The relationship between Junmalu and Shigego is very good. It can be said that Junmalu is the one who saved Shigego. At that time, because of what Junmalu said when he was leaving, Shigego chose to follow Sasuke. Arriving in front of a fine steel door, there are huge chains at the door firmly binding the door, as if trapped by a wild beast. "Open it, Junmalu, please stay away." Fungyao wants to subdue Changwu by himself, so that the other party can truly admire him. Then, Yaojun himself has to be careful, although I know you won't get hurt. Saying that, Orochimaru took out the key, opened the chain, and opened the door. A man's gasping sound came from the darkness where no fingers could be seen. "Did you kill? Don't kill." Then the voice suddenly became crazy, and the figure in the dark rushed out. "Ha ha ha, kill you." A very burly man with orange hair and orange pupils rushed to the door. Most of his body had been cursed and covered with gray skin. He waved his head away, and a sonic boom sounded in the air. Boom. Fungyao took half a step back from the position just now, but his left hand blocked Changwu's straight punch. No matter how hard I tried, Fungyao could not take another half step back. With the support of the intercolumnar cell body and the use of iron blocks, the strength of the body is even better. Changwu, who is not in a completely immortal state, has no way to take himself. Seeing that a single blow could not be done, Changwu grinned, "Ha ha ha, go to hell." A fleshy tube grew out of the right wrist, and chakra erupted outwards, increasing the impact again. Boom. It's really good explosive power, but unfortunately it's just pure straight punches or slashes. Maybe it will be better if you add physical skills. Fungyao took a step back again and evaluated the attack that Changwu had just made. "You're such a laid-back fellow. How about adding that?" Shigego began to enter the state of immortality for the most part, and his arms also became huge axe. Axe smashing blast. Axes slashing everywhere shattered the entire passage, and the falling dust flew everywhere. "It's dead now. Ha, kill it." But after the smoke and dust dissipated, Fungyao didn't hurt at all, and it was impossible for him to be hit by such a simple axe in his hand. Seeing this scene, Changwu widened his eyes in surprise and said, "How could this happen? Didn't hit you." Feng Yao ignored him, put his fists together, and drank lightly. 6 types of profound truth. 6 King's Spear. This is the strongest physical skill that can be used by mastering all 6 forms. It can launch a shock wave-like attack. At close range, Changgu is directly sent back to the cell and slammed into the wall. Feng Yao stepped on his feet and came to him, and Changgu wanted to continue to resist. However, Feng Yao put his hand on his head and input his chakra into his body, which calmed down Changwu's emotions, and the immortal state slowly subsided. Changwu's eyes also changed from fierce to confused and scared, and he suddenly screamed. "Ah, don't come to see me, I'll kill you." At this moment, Changgu is like a different person, completely different from the murderous look just now. This is Changgu's dual personality. He usually looks quieter, but if he loses control, he will kill people. Feng Yao looked at Changwu's appearance and walked over slowly. "Don't get excited, you can't kill me, because you are not as strong as me. You can also feel the chakra and spiritual energy I just injected into your body. I can help you control your immortal state. You don't need it anymore. I'm hiding here, follow me." Feng Yao looked at Changwu calmly, and Changwu slowly became quiet. He really felt that when he was fighting just now, there was a power that could make him come into his body and help him control the immortalization. He was still a little unsure. "Is it true? You can help me control my immortalization. Who are you?" Orochimaru on the side stepped forward to explain to Changgu. "His name is Feng Yao. Our Yinyan village, including me, has joined Yaojun's command. Of course, Junmalu is the same." Yaojun did not hesitate to find the best medical ninja in the world to cure Junmalu's disease. Changgu got excited when he heard the last sentence. He directly took Feng Yao's hand. "Really? You really saved Junmalu, thank you, thank you." Joining Yinyan village in the front couldn't attract Changgu at all, and said that Changgu was happy from the bottom of his heart when Junmaru was rescued. Junmalu also walked out from Orochimaru and smiled. "Of course, Changwu, I won't die, and you don't have to keep yourself trapped underground in the future." Changgu covered his forehead with his hand, confirming that the energy in his body belonged to Feng Yao. "Master Feng Yao, I am willing to join your command. Can you assign me and Junmalu?" Feng Yao nodded. "Of course you can. If you want, you can act together in the future. You will be relieved to have Junmalu by your side." After successfully subduing Changgu, there is only one remaining member of the Ghost Lantern family, Xianju. Under the leadership of Orochimaru, everyone came to a laboratory where huge containers were placed, and the containers were filled with tubes. These places are where some talented people are stored. Orochimaru said that these are all the bodies that he chose when he chose the container. Among them, there is Xianju from the Ghost Lamp family. Ghost Lantern Xianju is also considered to be born in a famous family. Their Ghost Lantern family was very famous in the past, and they also belonged to a large family in Wuyin village. There was a big guy in the family named Ghost Lantern Wanyu, 2nd generation Xueying. This is the ancestor of Xianju. The relationship between him and Wanyu was not explained in the original book. It should not be a pro-grandfather, it may be separated by 3 or 4 generation look. Originally, Xianju stayed in the country of water and must be reused, but he and his brother, the full moon of the water lamp, had a full fight in the country of fire, and the ending was that the moon of the ghost was worn by Mat Kai's father. Mat opened 8 doors, kicked the lunchbox, and the underage Suzui was also caught by Orochimaru in the country of fire. Everyone found a large container next to it. No matter how you looked at it, it was just water. In fact, it is the secret ninjutsu, hydration technique, passed down from generation to generation by the Ghost Lamp family. It can turn the body into a liquid state and is immune to physical attacks. It is a very powerful water ninjutsu, and its only weakness is thunder. Feng Yao took a few glances, and then smashed the glass of the container with a punch. Whoa! All the water inside flowed out and began to condense on the ground, and the last young man without clothes climbed out of the water. Feng Yao turned his head to look at him and said calmly. "Xianju, you are the last one, come with me. Chapter 55_Ghost Lantern Xueyu joins. Gui Deng Xueyu looked at the people around him with a headache, especially after seeing Orochimaru. His face was a little more ugly, and at the same time there was a trace of fear. Orochimaru had done a lot of experiments on him during this period of time, but there was no way. Uncle Snake loves science and wants to study the secret of the hydration technique of Chu Xueyu. Xueyu has white hair and purple eyes, and has sharp teeth, as if a shark is ready to bite its prey at any time. Orochimaru looked at Xueyu without speaking, and a gloomy voice sounded, "What's the matter, Xueyu? You are not going to refuse Yaojun's request, right?" After speaking, her eyes became fierce, and Xueyu felt the murderous aura of Orochimaru and was so frightened that it quickly melted. Said hurriedly, "No, no, willing to. I'm not denying it either." Saying that, he quickly stood next to Feng Yao and hid. Feng Yao glanced at Xueyu helplessly, and the fear of the other party for Orochimaru was a bit unexpected. Even Junmalu couldn't help laughing. He didn't expect that Feng Yao was looking for such a person in the end. Feng Yao thought that it would be about as troublesome as Changwu, but he was directly scared by Orochimaru into autism, which saved a lot of things. He coughed twice to ease the funny atmosphere. "Okay Xueyu, then you will also be a member of my Immortal, and your entire organization is only 2 people away, come with us in some clothes." Saying that, Junmalu threw a piece of clothes to Xueyu. Xueyu hurriedly put it on and followed Feng Yao obediently. After walking out of the gloomy laboratory, Feng Yao gave 2 rings, Ying, and Z, to Shigego and Suzuki, and now there is a ring for the 5th generation Mizukage Terumi Mei. One is for Bai, but Bai is now far away in the country of water, and there is no way to give it to him for the time being, but Bai is already his subordinate, so don't worry. That is to say, now the Immortal organization has reached the standard of 15 people. Feng Yao immediately asked the system for a reward. "I have now reached the scale of 15 people, is this a task completed?" Waiting for a long time, the system's voice responded unhurriedly, "Master, are you insulting my IQ? The number has already arrived, but you are probably only half of the strength of the elite, so mission requirements are not complete." Quote. "Damn it, which one I'm looking for is not a famous person in Hokage, do you think they won't be able to reach the level of Junin? Heaven." Feng Yao didn't give up and continued to persuade. Ninki and the others were indeed the famous powerhouses in Hokage in the future, but the time period when Feng Yao turned them over was still too young and their strength was relatively average. The system didn't pay attention to Feng Yao, but silently fell silent. "Your uncle, wait, I will train them into elite Junin for you to see in 3 months. You are a system that sees people low." Feng Yao rushed out. After the personnel problem is solved, in addition to improving their strength, it is necessary to group them and cooperate in actions, but it cannot be done in groups of 2, it is too easy to be defeated. Feng Yao came to a hall and asked Orochimaru to gather all the members of Xian, to train and assign them. Gaara and others came in one after another. As soon as Xueyu saw Xianju coming in, she couldn't help but complain, "This red-haired woman is so funny, is her head on fire?" Ha ha ha. Seeing Feng Yao in a good mood, Xianju was going to go up and say hello to Feng Yao. He heard a voice complaining about his hair, turned his head to look at a young man with white hair and purple eyes, and when he saw the other party's anger, Xianju seemed to be unable to restrain it. He flew directly and kicked Xueyu out, riding on Xueyu's body and beating hard. "Who are you? What's your business with the old lady's hair, you white-haired guy?" In the face of Xianju's continuous punches, Xueyu had to hydrate to avoid the attack. It is the first time that Xianju and Xueyu have met each other, but they are like enemies of fate, making trouble. Finally, after half a cup of tea, everyone has gathered. Feng Yao turned his head to look at Xueyu, who had mostly turned into water, and Xianju, who was panting helplessly. "Stop, come here, I have something to tell you." After hearing this, Xianju clapped her hands and walked to Feng Yao's side, looking at Feng Yao's face, "I will spare you." Xianju also got up from the ground, but silently complained in her heart, "What a terrible woman, I really don't like getting along with these people." Everyone stood in a row, with Feng Yao and Orochimaru standing at the front. Feng Yao said solemnly, "We, Xian, will have an important mission in a while. This mission will be the most dangerous thing you have ever experienced, and you will be fighting against shadow-level ninjas. With your current strength undoubtedly, I will die, so I need to improve your strength in a short period of time. I hope you can be prepared." Quote. An amazing word. Gaara and others have changed color. Is it a movie class? I really want to fight. It seems that I may not have time to rest in the future. Everyone is also discussing that they were brought together by Feng Yao for various reasons, but this is the first collective action, and it is so big. Some people are excited, some people are worried. First of all, I will let Orochimaru transplant intercolumn cells and curse marks to increase your combat effectiveness in a short time, and we have developed a method to control intercolumn cells, so there is no need to worry about safety issues. Feng Yao continued. Secondly, I will divide you into different groups for action. Each group will have a group leader. You must obey the command, and everyone will work with each other. Finally, all the ninjutsu and forbidden techniques I collected from Konoha are open to you. As long as you can master it, you can learn it at any time, but you must do what you can, and you must not hurt yourself. The staff arrangement is as follows. Feng Yao, Gaara, Neji, and Xianglin form a group. Feng Yao is responsible for the unified command of operations. Tayuya, Tsunade, Saj, and Orochimaru form a group, and of course Orochimaru is in charge of the command. Do, Junmalu, Changwu, and Xianju form a group, and Do is in charge of commanding the battle. After finishing the assigned tasks, Feng Yao and Orochimaru left together first, ordering the other members to hurry up to practice, and to carry out the transplantation of the spell seal and the cells between the pillars in a unified manner tomorrow. This is also the best way Feng Yao can think of to improve the combat power in a short time. After Orochimaru and Feng Yao left, the hall became lively. Sure enough, Feng Yao is interested in me. Otherwise, how can I be assigned to his group? Oh, he really is. Just say no. Xianglin raised her eyes and shook her hair confidently. Duoyu also roared after hearing this. Give me a little restraint. Use honorifics to Lord Feng Yao. And why is Lord Feng Yao interested in a red-haired orangutan like you, so violent? Obviously, Xianglin just beat Xianju violently. Xianglin responded unceremoniously. Oh how do you know that Feng Yao is not interested in me? I just want to take the opportunity to win a complete victory when you are assigned to the frontier. Really? What is complete victory? Why don't you teach me, the red-haired orangutan who can't fight at all? You bitch should know exactly what it means. Although the battle of words between you and me was quite intense, the two of them never turned their eyes away, staring blankly into each other's eyes. The two of them looked at each other with a faint terrifying aura. Alas, women's affairs can only be left to women to handle themselves. Captain Do is now the supreme commander, so I'll leave it to you. Xianju was obviously watching the fun when she saw that Tayuya and Xianglin were arguing. Wait a minute, why are you passing the buck to me? I'm not their team leader. I won't be able to bear the responsibility of Lord Orochimaru. Do adjusted his glasses and hurriedly cleaned up his choices. The others were not interested at all, they dispersed, and Douche took Xianju and left together. It is said that the remaining two quarreled until midnight. Chapter 56 The Curse Seal of 100% Success Rate. Yinyan Village, Laboratory. Yaojun, let's get started now. Orochimaru stood aside. A total of 12 people gathered together in this laboratory. The originally large space seemed a bit crowded now. Taiyu has also transplanted cells, but according to her own statement, she wants to come and watch Xianglin to prevent her from having any bad thoughts. Feng Yao nodded. Well, which of you are going to come first? Everyone looked at each other, and then Ningji stood up first. He wanted strength. He used to be considered a genius in Konoha, but in this monster-swarmed Yinyan village, Ningji felt that he was not outstanding. He wanted power, become stronger and want to change the fate of the separation. Come on then, I'll help you transplant the cells of Xianju and Zuma first to improve your physical ability and resilience, so that you will have a higher chance of surviving when you bear the curse mark next time. Orochimaru said. Yes. Neji took the lead and lay down on the test bench. There is no problem with this step, after all, it has been experimented, so I am sure. The successfully transplanted Ninji chakra is obviously much better than just now. If he is compatible with the intercolumnar cells, he has practiced. You can also use the first generation Mudden, but this also depends on talent. Feng Yao doesn't want Neji to put the cart before the horse. This power, is this the power of the legendary ninja god Hashima-sama? Neji couldn't believe the change in the chakra in his body. But Orochimaru corrected. Accurately speaking, Yaojun's power helped you, otherwise you would not be able to control the cells between the columns with your ability. Thank you, Lord Feng Yao. Ningji turned around and bowed to Feng Yao. The increase in strength made Ningji feel that perhaps he really had the opportunity to change the fate of the family. Then the next step is the spell seal. The spell seal is divided into heaven, earth, and ordinary spell seals. The difficulty and power are from high to low. Now Neji's situation is better than that of Sasuke at that time, so Feng Yao asked Orochimaru to give it to him. Ning Jishin's curse seal. Orochimaru stretched out his neck and took a bite on Neji's neck. A black curse mark of a three-hooked jade slowly appeared above the wound. Only when the person who has been transplanted with the curse imprint has endured the first round of pain can he open the state of the first curse imprint, just as Orochimaru was waiting for Neji's painful expression. However, Neji directly entered the state of the curse mark 1, and his whole body was covered with black lines in the shape of water droplets. This pattern is generally related to the attributes of the recipient. For example, in the original book, Sasuke has a black pattern like a flame. Neji's chakra attribute has a water attribute change. Didn't you feel any pain in the process? Didn't you feel eroded by power? Orochimaru looked at Neji in amazement. This so-called erosion is the same as being petrified due to the immortal mode's inability to control the immortal chakra. The curse mark will help the user absorb the natural energy in the air, but because it cannot self-regulate, the final reaction, those who lose their consciousness and eventually become unconscious will just keep fighting. That's not true. I just feel that the power is constantly pouring out from the curse, but it does feel like it has been eroded for a long time. After listening to Neji's answer, Orochimaru lowered his head and thought. Suddenly he said excitedly, I understand. Yaojun's cells are also compatible with Changwu's body fluids, which is equivalent to Changwu himself using a spell seal. It's so perfect, so that the success rate of the spell seal transplantation can reach 100%. Yao Jun, you really are a perfect life form. Feng Yao's eyes lit up when he heard Orochimaru's explanation. It's better this way. Originally, for safety reasons, I planned to transplant a few of them with the curse of the land, but it seems unnecessary now. Let's all come up one by one. Then Gaara, Sai, and others also successfully transplanted the curse mark and columnar cells. But this does not include Tsunade, too, and Incense. Tsunade's own 100 Heroes ability is not weaker than the spell seal. In the future, Feng Yao plans to arrange for him and Orochimaru to go to Longdedong to practice the immortal mode. As for Shang Rin, he said that he didn't want to be bitten by Orochimaru even if he died. After a long stalemate, he could only give up. Anyway, Shang Rin was a perceptive ninja and didn't need to fight head-on. Everyone has different states of opening the spell according to their different attributes. As for the state of the second spell, it is necessary to Xingxin Pill and the 4 people to arrange the enchantment transition. I can talk about it later. Everyone now wants to feel their own power and previous changes. Neji spoke first. Master Feng Yao, I was defeated by you before, I want to challenge you again. Feng Yao shook his head helplessly. Sure enough, power can make people swell. If you want to get together, why don't you go together? I think there are a few of you who are also very excited. As he spoke, he picked Sajing, Xianju, Gaara and other people. At this time, Sakai suddenly said with a smile, "Of course it is our dream to fight against Feng Yao-sama, but you can't keep using the ability to blur your body to avoid Fei Lei Shen, otherwise we may not be able to touch you for a day." In a word, as soon as the words came out, several people around them agreed. Feng Yao glanced at Sakai helplessly, thinking about relying on Fei Lei Shensho and these guys. Okay, I don't need these two techniques, you can come." After speaking, he brought everyone to the outside of Yinyan village. Neji took the lead, and his body was covered with water drop patterns. Expand the Bagua array and place Feng Yao in the array, and put both hands in a charged state on the left waist. Soft boxing technique 8 trigrams empty palm. Neji pushed his palm out, and a large chakra shock wave roared towards Feng Yao, which was equivalent to a soft fist in the air. Feng Yao didn't dodge, but instead rushed over to take the shock wave, and the soft fist attacked the inside of others' bodies. Feng Yao's internal organs were all shaken to a certain extent, but when he rushed to Neji, the internal injury had already healed. The intercolumnar cells in his body can be said to be the most present, and the recovery effect is naturally the strongest. Type 6. Finger Gun. Feng Yao condensed his strength on his fingers, and the power was enough to easily pierce through flesh and steel plates. If Neji was hit, he would probably lose his combat effectiveness. Neji didn't dare to underestimate this move, and chakra burst out from the acupoints all over his body. Soft boxing techniques Bagua palm returns to heaven. The absolute physical defense made Feng Yao only retreat temporarily, but the sand under his feet surrounded him, and Gaara also started. He spread his palms out to find Feng Yao's direction and squeezed hard, sand-bound coffin. Gaara's trick has been tried and tested, and it would be troublesome if it was trapped. Moon Step. Feng Yao directly stepped on both feet, and the terrifying force directly bounced him into the sky, avoiding the range of Gaara Luoshizi. But Feng Yao underestimated the cooperation between them. Ninja Super Beast Pseudo Painting. A huge ink eagle flew to Feng Yao's head, grabbed Feng Yao's back, and rushed towards the ground, waiting for Feng Yao besides Gaara's sand, as well as the excited Xianju. Xianju raised her hand and pointed her finger at Feng Yao's position. Water escape water and iron cannons. The highly compressed liquid like a bullet was shot from the tip of Sueyui's index finger, which once shattered Fei's that special Baiju mask in the original book. The cooperation looks really good, so let me experiment with my new technique. Speaking of quickly forming a seal in his hand, Orochimaru on the side saw that the sweat was left behind, and he recognized that it was the ninjutsu that Feng Yao defeated Jiraiya and Tsunade with one move at that time. But there is obviously a difference. This is Feng Yao's improved defense method based on Wanwo Mahamudra. Just when the attack was about to fall on Feng Yao's head. Ninja. My body seal. Countless identical phantoms flashed around Feng Yao. They surrounded Feng Yao in the middle and spun wildly beside him. After reaching the extreme, a circular protective cover was formed, and everything around was bounced off. The flying eagle was directly ejected and turned back into a pool of ink. The water iron cannon also went back the same way and hit Xianju. Fortunately, he was made of water, so it might have been dangerous. The sand on the ground was also swept away. Xianju is now half hydrated, frowning and complaining. No, you can actually go back to the original way of ninjutsu, how to fight this. This is improved by Feng Yao's simulation of Shen Luo Tianzheng. The phantom created by chakra circles around, and finally forms a protective cover. Bounce the flying ninjutsu back, but resisting and rebounding will consume these phantoms formed with chakra, which requires constant consumption of chakra to replenish. In terms of consumption, it is higher than Shenluo Tianzheng, but the advantage is that there is no such limit as the use of interval time. Well, do you still want to fight? Feng Yao looked at them with a faint smile. Everyone looked at each other, and said in unison, fuck. Chapter 57_2 Women's War. Stars like diamonds adorn the night sky. In the open space of Yinyan village, there are several wooden barrels with spells attached, and there are black enchantments above them. Gaara is sitting in an empty bucket. Tayuya, Zukin, Jirofang, and Kidumaru stood around the barrel, each with different seals. 4 black fog formations. The air was filled with black smoke, and then it was firmly trapped above the barrel, forming a black protective cover. Zuo Jin bit his fingers, wrote the spell on a stack of paper, and threw it towards the barrel. Black seal. Slap. _ The entire wooden barrel was firmly blocked. Zuo Jin and the others let out a sigh of relief and turned to look at Feng Yao next to him. Lord Feng Yao, all of them have been inspired to enter the state of Curse Yin too. We will take care of them here, you go to rest first. Feng Yao turned his head to look at the 4 wooden barrels in the field and shook his head slightly. He found an open space to sit down and waited quietly while refining chakra. Over time, the night passed. Boom. A barrier was suddenly shattered, and it was Neji's wooden barrel. His body shape and skin have undergone tremendous changes, his hair has turned white, the caged bird spell on his forehead forms a pattern that generally extends to the corners of his eyes, the outer circle of the white pupils has a dark yellow layer, and the palms of his hands have similar holes. The same launch port seems to be used to increase the power of the soft fist. Seeing the first person come out, Feng Yao was also relieved a lot. Ningji, congratulations on your success, let's rest for a while now. Neji slowly withdrew the curse seal. He was shocked by the chakra that had increased several times in its strength just now. However, as Orochimaru said, this curse seal would slowly erode people's consciousness. Yes, Lord Feng Yao, then I'll go down first. After speaking, he glanced at Gaara's wooden box slowly, and said in his heart, when you come out, let's have a test. Then he left. The rest of the people went well, and after everyone was settled, Feng Yao returned to his room to rest. A few days later, Feng Yao sat on a stylish all-black leather chair with an ebony desk in front of him. Since Orochimaru followed Feng Yao, he re-enlarged and renovated Feng Yao's entire room. Every piece of furniture in the house has been carefully selected for taste and value. There was also a soft and fluffy dark red carpet on the ground, and there was no sound when walking. Feng Yao is tapping Erlang's leg and looking at the recent training report on the members of the Xian organization. Basically, everyone is improving steadily, and the system tasks should be completed soon. At this time, there was a knock on the door, and after a while, Tayuya's voice came. Master Feng Yao, can I come in? It doesn't matter, you come in. Opening the door, Duo Yu also walked in with a plate of food. In fact, Feng Yao doesn't need to eat now. There are intercolumnar cells in which he does not need to eat at all, but Duo Yu also insists every time. After trying to persuade Feng Yao to no avail, he gave up. Taiyu also put the plate on Feng Yao's table. She is now dressed differently than usual, and has changed out of Yinan's costume and hat. Putting on a white kimono, with a faint smile on his face, and combing his hair, he gave off a feeling of Xiaojiabiyu. I don't know if it was an illusion. Even his figure seemed to be much better, which might be an illusion. Master Feng Yao, you can rest assured that their cultivation is progressing very smoothly, and now they can persist in the state of the second curse for a long time. Seeing the information in Feng Yao's hand, Duo Yu also spoke to Feng Yao about the recent situation of Gaara and others. Well, I'm very at ease with them. Has there been any special information from the ninja world recently? The country of fire announced a truce with the country of wind and formed an alliance. If you guess correctly, the country of thunder will soon invade these two countries, and the country of rain, which Lord Feng Yao ordered us to keep an eye on, is currently nothing special, as you instructed, never come near when it rains. Quote. Feng Yao folded his hands, thinking about the next action in his mind. Oh, in this case, the best situation is to only fight against Pen Ludao and Xiaonan, and the worst situation is even against Obito and other members of the Akatsuki organization. According to the current combat effectiveness, when there are Ludao and Xiaonan at most, adding 2 members of the Xiao organization is the limit. If there are more members, there will be danger. In order to improve the combat effectiveness, Feng Yao decided to go to the battlefield next time to collect them. Bones, reincarnated in filthy soil. Everything depends on the orders of Lord Feng Yao. Yuya, who was silently waiting for the order, responded after hearing Feng Yao's groaning. Really, Yuya, I'm glad you're so loyal. Can do it for you. Suddenly there was another knock on the door. Duoyu also looked at Feng Yao's face, and then bowed to the door to check. Master Feng Yao, it's Shang Rin who wants to see you. Shang Rin, didn't I let them go on a mission today? Let her in. After getting Feng Yao's permission, a girl wearing intellectual-style glasses, a purple top with a belly button exposed, black hot pants, black stockings and black ninja shoes walked in. It was Shang Rin. Feng Yao, my lord, good morning. You too, Shang Rin, what's the matter with me today? Didn't I let you, Neji and Gaara go to the country of fire and the country of wind to collect information? Of course it's to appreciate the handsome face of Lord Feng Yao. After saying that, he covered his face shyly. Feng Yao's face was expressionless, but his blue pupils flickered a few times. Originally, I wanted the other party not to keep saying such flattering words, but I swallowed it back, and I could see Yuya squinting at Shang Rin with an excited face, her smile gradually changing. The smile remains the same, but it must not be called a smile. Then you are satisfied after reading it, you can go down, Shang Rin. I am now reporting the situation of the members of the Xian organization and the information of the surrounding countries with Lord Feng Yao. Can you not disturb the two of us to deal with important affairs? As soon as he encounters incense, Yuya's poisonous tongue attribute is ready to be opened. Can't we say hello before we get down to business? You fake milk, do you think I can't see it after a few layers of pads? Feng Yao embarrassedly held his forehead with his hand, and he felt that Duoyu was different from usual, and thought it was his own illusion. What did you say? You big-mouthed orangutan, I'll kill you Tilda. Who is afraid of who? It will fall out when you hit it carefully. The two girls with indescribable expressions competed against each other in front of Feng Yao, holding back some headaches, and spoke quickly before the situation became more tragic. You two stop making a fuss. In an instant, the two of them obeyed orders at the same time, and immediately cast a well-behaved smile like Feng Yao, and the terrifying expression of fierceness seemed to have never been seen before. Wouldn't it be unpleasant to have no men in the sight of two pretty girls? But Feng Yao could not accept this matter calmly. At least not now. The two of them are only about 14 years old. For someone whose mental age is over 30, they are younger than themselves. Put aside the things in your mind for a while and ask. I was asking once, Shang Rin, what's the matter with you? Yes, according to your order, I will go to the land of wind and the land of fire to collect intelligence. I may not be able to return for a short time in the future, so I want to say hello to you before leaving. Knowing Shang Rin's thoughts, Feng Yao nodded slightly. Shang Rong still had some dependence on him, but Feng Yao still had more important things to do, so he could only let the three of them go. Understood, Shang Rin, you must be careful when collecting information. You are a perceptive ninja who wants to know the situation around you. If you can, learn more from the volumes of sealing techniques in the library, the ninja techniques captured by Konoha, to improve your strength. Shang Rin is a member of the Vortex clan, and naturally he is good at sealing. At present, only Shang Rin's strength has not reached the elite level, but after learning the sealing technique, he should be able to barely reach it. After all, the cells between the columns are still transplanted. Yes. A serious voice responded. Well, go ahead and inform Do before leaving, and ask him to ask Orochimaru to see me, and say I want to discuss a countermeasure with him. Chapter 58_Grass Hidden Village. The sky is blue, with a few floating clouds occasionally. Feng Yao was walking on the rugged mountain road, and looking out from afar, he wore a white mask on his face, with golden patterns engraved on it, which looked rather mysterious. Next to them were Orochimaru and Do, who were heading to Kaoyan village together. The purpose of this time is to go to the vicinity of Gracian village to find the bones of some strong men for reincarnation. Gracian village is the place where the Third Ninja War broke out. You can go there and try your luck. Orochimaru turned his head and spoke to Feng Yao, who was walking side by side. Yaojun, you are really cautious. I think that with our strength and the information you have, we can completely face pain head to head. Orochimaru would say this because of the great increase in the strength of all the members now, as well as the flamboyant myriad Mumudra. Feng Yao's sneering voice sounded. Orochimaru, you still underestimate the organization of Shao, and even less of pain. Although the information I said is so, the actual situation will only be more difficult to deal with, not to mention that we still have to fight for samsara. See, my goal is to get 0 casualties on this mission. Quote. I'm sorry Yao-kun, I was negligent, so why is the reincarnation of the filthy earth being carried out by Do? Fu will be in charge of all the reincarnations of the dirty earth this time. If you let me come, then I may be distracted by manipulating the reincarnation of the dirty earth and unable to fight. If it is too troublesome to give them self-awareness, this is the only way. Feng Yao shrugged helplessly, and in the original book, he planned the Fourth Ninja War with one-handed reincarnation. Although controlling the summoner will reduce the strength of the summoned, there is no way. It's a pity that Orochimaru used 3 extremely powerful cards in Konoha at that time. Konoha did not know what means to seal the souls of the first 3 people. After Orochimaru untied the dirty soil, the opponent's soul did not return to the pure land and could not be summoned again. Feng Yao's heart ached when he thought of this, and a good hand of cards was beaten to pieces by Orochimaru. A few people walked for a long time, and everyone came to a small city in the country of grass, and picked up many people to set up stalls with various vegetables, prepared foods and other various commodities. Amid the hustle and bustle of the crowd, the boss made an imposing shout to the pedestrians in the street trying to solicit customers. The elderly women were bargaining with the merchants, and the young people, attracted by the aroma of the barbecued meat, bought the juicy skewers. All eyes on the street were attracted by Feng Yao and his group, and they all stood still. 2 men followed. One of them was a gloomy man with long hair and golden pupils, looking at him as if he was being stared at by a poisonous snake, and the one behind him wore glasses, which looked gentle, and was of a more attractive type. What attracts attention is the man walking in the front. His blue pupils are so attractive, even if only half of his face is missed, anyone will take a second look at his noble and pure temperament. The dark brown robe on his body, although it's unremarkable, it seems like the most luxurious clothes to be worn by him. Orochimaru teased. Hee, Yaojun, you really should wear a mask that can cover your entire face. It's not convenient for us to move like this. Feng Yao felt helpless, and this mask was stuffed by himself when he was leaving. It is said that it is carefully selected, and Feng Yao must wear it. If you think about it, it is also the first gift from others, so it is not good if you don't accept it. Feng Yao raised his right hand to support his forehead. Let's not mention this. Let's find a place to rest first. We are almost there. Everyone came to a restaurant. In addition to ordinary people, there were several ninjas from Kusakata. After seeing Feng Yao, the people in the restaurant also took a deep breath. Feng Yao sat down calmly, and winked at Orochimaru. The reincarnation of the dirty earth definitely needs people, and the better the body, the stronger the reincarnation. Although Orochimaru already has a lot of intercolumnar cells, it is not enough to clone or create a person with a large number of intercolumnar cells like Baiju, so they can only use ninja instead. Feng Yao chose grassy village. 2 sat down and ordered a salt-roasted bamboo mackerel. As for Feng Yao and Orochimaru, they each ordered a cup of tea and sat down to listen to the conversation with the Gracian next to them. I heard that Konoha has strengthened its military expansion recently. Will it be with us? Don't think blindly. Konoha is to deal with the Kingdom of Thunder, not us. Don't scare yourself. It's a good opportunity for our Gracian village to rise this time. Unfortunately, in this case, that Shangrin doesn't know where to go. She is more effective than a medical ninja. Sure enough, such an outsider can't be trusted. Feng Yao listened quietly, and he expected Union Village to deal with Konoha. After all, Union has two perfect human pillars, Wei and Yahweh. Now that Konoha and Cheyenne strength has plummeted, Raikage will not miss this opportunity. But Feng Yao also heard another meaning. Kaoyan Village seemed to be a little restless, as if he was going to take advantage of the war to take advantage of the pen, but it would be better to catch them and ask later. Cao Yin and his party were about to leave after eating. Feng Yao winked at Do, and Do stretched out a foot to block the other party. Everyone in the restaurant looked like they were waiting for a good show. This time, Feng Yao and the others came out without wearing forehead guards, so they thought that Feng Yao and others might just be Ronin with some skills. A guy who seemed to be the leader kicked his feet and threatened. "Hey, boy, do you know who I am? I'm a Chunin of Kaoyan Village, and I chopped off your leg if I didn't believe it or not." After listening to this, Do smiled slightly, straightened up his glasses and stood up, patted his chest with a palm, and blue chakra covered his hands, forming a sharp blade. Cut his artery directly with a chakra scalpel. This ninjutsu can also be used for medical transplants, etc. As a means of attack, it can easily separate other people's arteries and throats without trauma. The Kusanagi Chunin knelt directly on the ground, vomited blood, covered the painful in his chest, and soon died. The people around were stunned by the scene in front of them, and when the other two Kusakazuki Chunin saw the situation, they knew that the other party was also a ninja and hurried back. Wind escape, gale palm. Earth escape, earth rock flow. One of them punched the floor after finishing the seal. Boom. The ground beneath the floor shattered into countless fine sands, which then eroded over like ocean tides. Followed by the sharp waves in the air. Feng Yao directly opened the blur to penetrate the past. Wolf hunt, hands from all sides. This is one of the advanced uses of iron nuggets. Although Feng Yao had mastered iron nuggets before, he never thought about developing these physical skills. During the rest period, Feng Yao was not idle and did some research. This move can instantly sharpen the nails to attack the enemy, and the speed is so fast that the physical claw can be transformed into a slashing force like the wind. Call out, call out, call out. With the sound of breaking the air, the bodies of the two Kusakazuki Chunin were shattered by sharp fingernails. The sound of the body's bones being cut off, the sound of the table breaking, the plank being cut, and the man's wailing were mixed. All the people in the restaurant were scattered, leaving only the two still alive Cao Yin. Feng Yao didn't cut their vital points, but the two of them were dying. Each of them had dozens of wounds several centimeters deep, and one of them had his arm cut off by the roots. Feng Yao turned his head towards the pocket and said, "You take one of them to the back for interrogation, and see what they have planned, and the battle strength of their village." After the pocket was gone, Feng Yao squatted down and said in a persuasive manner, "Your companion is also being interrogated by the side. You can tell me the secret of your village earlier than him, so that I can guarantee that I will not kill you, but you can't lie to me. If he is different from what you said, then you both have to die." Kusakin's ninja didn't speak at first, but he was also anxious when he heard that there were always faint voices from the pocket. He was afraid that his companions would confess and die alone. He explained everything as it was. Feng Yao nodded with satisfaction, pouted at Orochimaru, and then walked out of the restaurant. After getting the information, he had already solved the grass ninja. Tongue snake sucking swallow. Orochimaru walked out with a flat face, and the person has been solved. Chapter 59 The plan of the land. I didn't expect that the old man Toying also wanted to attack Konoha while he was in the chaos, so he got into trouble with Kaoyan Village. Feng Yao, Orochimaru and the others hurried along the tree while exchanging the information they had just obtained. Although the strength of Kaoyan Village is weaker than other countries, it is good at using diplomatic means to deal with countries, and can grasp the trend of the times very early to protect the whole body. This is why Yinyan Village contacted Kuiyan first, because they knew that the other party knew the current affairs, and they were going to take advantage of Konoha and Union to go to war, and take advantage of Kuian village to directly attack Konoha. The land is desolate, and most of it is made of stones. It has long coveted the land of fire. As the center of the mainland, the land of fire is the center of the continent, and its economic development ranks first almost every year. During the conversation, several people have come to the residence of Kuian village. The village here is not large, with only a few hundred households at most, and a simple stone wall defense was built around the village. There are also several ninja teams in charge of vigilance, and there is no such thing as a perception barrier in a village like this. Said Master Fengyao, according to the information just now, there are only 4 Shangnin in Kuian village, including their leader. Then let's get started. After Fengyao finished speaking, he activated his divine power and brought the 3 together to the wall of Kuian village. Enemy attack. Kusakata's ninja also saw the 3 people coming out of the Kamui vortex for the first time. Countless kunai and shuriken darts flew in the air, along with detonating talismans. Boom, boom, boom. Dozens of kunai with detonating talismans exploded at Fengyao's location, and smoke and dust were scattered everywhere, and the city wall was blown to pieces in an instant. Fengyao sank into the ground, emerged from behind the nearest Kusakakushi, grabbed the opponent directly, and sucked him into the space with the vortex in his right eye. Silently said, "The first one." Then he threw a few trident kunai flying around, using the flying thunder god technique with flash bombs. 3 styles of spiral flash super wheel dance and roar. In the strong light, all the people could not open their eyes, they only felt a heavy punch, and then their bodies were pulled. People came to a quiet space with only stone pillars, and there were constantly ninjas from Gracian village being thrown in. Second. Third. Orochimaru and 2 had just avoided using the instant body technique, and now they are also arresting people in Kuian village. Yaojun is also true, we are not virtual, it would be fine if he went to the wall alone. After speaking, he knocked out another Kusakata ninja, and Kaoru also agreed with silence. Then he opened his mouth and asked, "It's almost enough to catch more than 50. After all, you have to consider that you may be reincarnated into some useless ninjas. 50 isn't enough." Orochimaru glanced around, and then looked at Fengyao, who had not stopped, and licked his lips. It happens that there are not many subjects in the laboratory, and future scientific research still needs a lot of what about the experimental subjects. After biting his fingers, he made a mark on his hands and prepared to summon a psychic beast. Spirituality. Several huge black pythons appeared in the village, destroying the surrounding buildings. Fengyao's side once again absorbed a grass hidden, and bit his finger to channel out his own ghost. The evil aura and dozens of tentacles on his body made everyone around him dare not approach. Monster. We can't win. But the ghost is not polite, and the tentacles continue to entangle the enemy to absorb the chakra. Who dare to launch an attack on my Kuian village? Fire escape dragon fire technique. A few joinin members of Kusakan finally arrived, and the straight flames rushed past like a gust of wind. The fire escape that should have penetrated the opponent's body, but directly penetrated the past, breaking a big tree not far away. What's going on? The other party is a phantom. Just when the few Kusakan Jonin looked at each other, Fengyao stepped on both feet and used the moon step to get close to each other directly. It's not a phantom, everyone be careful. Fire escape fire dragon flame bullet. A joinin spit out an extremely powerful fireball from his mouth, but this extremely powerful ninjutsu once again passed through the opponent's body. Fengyao rushed to the other side and said in a flat tone, "Sure enough, Kusakamura is good at studying ninjutsu from other countries, but unfortunately this also limits you." Land foot. Baile. 180 degrees in the air, and he sent out his feet, and the slashing wave it sent out was much larger than usual. That Kusanagi Kamijinin couldn't dodge, and crossed his arms to prepare for a hard fight. Bang! A cloud of blood bloomed in the air, and the joinin's body was shot directly into the house like a cannonball. The other two were horrified by the power of Feng Yao Tai technique and dealt with it more cautiously. Don't get close to him. Understood. Water escape water whip, thunder escape thunderball. The two decided to distance themselves and fight Feng Yao. A transparent water whip appeared on one of the Jonin hands, and they used Lei Dun to help increase their attack power. They decided that Feng Yao could only use physical attacks, so he had to get close. Kusakazuki Jonin threw out a water whip to tie Feng Yao, while another bit his finger and prepared to summon a psychic beast. This idea is very good, but unfortunately it is wrong. After the water whip passed through the body, Feng Yao's left eye was bloodshot. Divine might. The space where the eyes were focused began to twist and twist. The other party had never seen this kind of time-space ninjutsu. For a while, he didn't know how to deal with it, and he watched his arm being ripped off. That Kusanagi hugged his right arm in pain, his body trembling, and he was already useless if he couldn't seal it. Damn it, psychic. Grass Cloud Lion. The remaining Jonin also summoned his own psychic beast, a lion with blue hair, blood-red eyes looking at Feng Yao. He felt his master's order, and rushed towards Feng Yao. The claws sent out huge wind blades trying to cut Feng Yao into pieces. Feng Yao evaded the attack and ascended into the air with both feet, and kicked several times at the lion below and Kusakagakushi in the distance. Lanjiao, wolf with stars. When attacking, the chop wave transforms into 4 wolves and devours the enemy forward. The lion roars and blocks in front of its master. It hits the 4 wolves and is finally torn apart by the chop wave. Xiao Xin. Seeing that the psychic beast who had accompanied him for several years died to protect him, the Junin didn't have time to grieve and drag his companion to avoid the attack in a hurry, and fell to the ground in embarrassment. Just when he wanted to feel the help of his injured companion, a pair of feet appeared in front of him, looked up, and met Feng Yao's dull blue pupils. He roared with grief and indignation. Why? Why do you want to destroy my Kaoyan village? Who are you, and what kind of grudges do you have with us? No guilt, Feng Yao just told him calmly. There is no hatred, because I need people as sacrifices, and it is just close to your Kaoyan village, so I am here. Jonin seemed to be stunned, just for this reason. To slaughter my village for such absurd reasons. Feng Yao didn't care what he was thinking, he was stunned and punched out. Shinwei absorbed into the space, and Orochimaru also carried an unknown Kusanagi ninja in his hand and walked towards Feng Yao. Orochimaru threw the grass ninja on the ground like garbage, raised his head and asked. Yaojun, this guy seems to be the leader of Cao Yin, do you have anything to ask him? Feng Yao glanced at the leader who was beaten by Orochimaru with only half his life left, and he lowered his body. How long ago did Yukuyan and Yenian village contact each other? How much do you know about Union village's actions against Konoha? The leader of Kaoyan raised his head laboriously, returning to your lord. It was 4 days ago. As for Yun Yin, we really don't know. If you need it, we are in Cao Yin village. For you to ask, please let us live in the village of Gracian. We are confused for a while. This man struggled to speak, but he still tried his best to fight for a chance for his village. The leader had already recognized that the other party was Konoha rebellion by fighting against Orochimaru. He felt that he had offended Konoha because of what his village had done. As a former Konoha ninja, Orochimaru couldn't stand it before he started. Feng Yao touched it and thought about the stakes in it. He couldn't let go of Kaoyan village. It depends on whether the benefits were enough. If all the ninjas and villagers in Kaoyan village were taken away now, it would be nothing more than more experimental subjects and offerings. But if they were left to inquire about news, they could even decide at any time whether Yinyan Hidden Village or Yinria Village was the one, and it was still possible to decide which one was more important and which one was lighter. He lightly patted the head of Kusakane's face. Asked in a devilish tone, I let you go, so why don't you tell me? How can I believe that you will do things for me, the enemy who attacked your village? Chapter 60_Blood Slave Curse. This sudden sentence stopped the leader of the grass and asked. Now he has already determined that the other party is from Konoha, so he quickly thought about the meaning of Feng Yao's words. I understand, Konoha means if I let go, how can I make sure that I will not betray Kusakage? He hurriedly said, My lord, you can plant a binding spell. Control me Kusakagata, I will swear. I will never dare to betray Konoha. Betray Konoha, what's the meaning? Feng Yao was also confused by the answer from the other side. After seeing Orochimaru, he realized that the other party in his feelings was someone who regarded himself as Konoha. However, his raid on Kusakane this time had indeed helped Konoha village indirectly, otherwise Konoha would be in danger if he stabbed the country in the back. Feng Yao first put the other party's misunderstanding aside for a while, and seriously considered the matter of restraining the curse. There are long and short binding spells, and Orochimaru's heaven and earth spells also have a similar binding effect. The long ones, such as Hyuga's caged birds, will last a lifetime, and the short ones, such as the seal of self-care curse that Danzo has used on himself, can only temporarily control the actions of others. Of course, the former is better for Kusaka. Feng Yao turned to look at Orochimaru, because he couldn't cast the spell himself, so he could only let Orochimaru do it for him. Seeing Feng Yao looking at him, Orochimaru knew that Feng Yao had made a decision. It seems that Yaojun wants to bring Cao Yin under his command, so what do you need me to do? After saying that he had released his psychic spell, the big snakes running around in the village stopped, and then a cloud of smoke exploded, and all the snakes disappeared. Stopped. These serpents are gone. It must have been the leader who killed the intruder. Well killed. I don't know how to invade my Kusakane. The villagers are in the rejoicing of the rest of their lives, and have no doubts about their leader defeating the invaders. Feng Yao pointed to the leader of Cao Yin on the ground and said, Orochimaru, please put a restraining spell on this Cao Yin guy. Oh right, what's your name? When the leader of Cao Yin heard this, he knew that Cao Yin village would not perish, and hurriedly responded. Little, the villain's name is Kudo-san. Well, Kudo, I see. Orochimaru picked out a curse mark called Blood Slave Curse, from the scroll he recently obtained in Konoha. This requires obtaining the blood of the other party to cast the curse, as long as the other party tells the secret of the cursed person or has the intention of betrayal. Then the blood in the body will flow uncontrollably and rapidly, and finally explode and die. It is an extremely cruel curse, so it was sealed up. Orochimaru took the blood of the grass and painted a complex spell on his head, and then pressed the seal. The spell quickly merged, and finally formed a bloody broken pattern covering Kudo-san's head. Feng Yao nodded after the spell was finished. Do, come and treat his injury, don't let him die. Understood, Master Feng Yao. Do adjusted his glasses, came over and raised a green chakra in his hand. Medical Ninja, Palm Immortal. This chakra, which only requires the practitioner to touch the body of the injured person, can be reliably released regardless of internal or external injuries, and achieves an amazing recovery speed. It can also interfere with the circulation of chakra in the body of others by releasing chakra, causing a state of drowsiness, etc. Kudo-san's body soon stopped bleeding, and Feng Yao ordered him to call all the other ninjas in the village and put the blood slave curse. There are nearly 100 ninjas left in Cao Yin village. When they heard that the leader of their own family was defeated, they would be planted with a restraining spell. Many people looked ugly and full of humiliation. After being killed by so many companions, but still being driven by the other party, a few hot-blooded men stood up directly. Chief, I can't accept this request. Although my grassy village can survive like this, I'm just a slave of others. I will be ridiculed by other countries in the future, and I can't hold my head up. Kudo-san gave him a wink when he saw it, telling him not to talk. It's a good leader, I can't accept it either. I know you're here for Cao Yin village. Let us put up with the humiliation for a while, and look for opportunities to rise up in the future, but we'd rather die here than be a slave. The generous and passionate speeches of these few people also aroused the emotions of others. Many people clenched their fists and wanted to fight Feng Yao and others to the death. Underscore. Feng Yaoyi's divine power twisted the neck of the lead chunin on the spot, and a headless corpse fell to the ground. Orochimaru channeled the snake and swallowed the other person. Everyone was shocked by this sudden blow, and they were afraid that it would be the same fate if they went up, but they still had a chance to live. So the voices of opposition disappeared, and the clenched fists of many people loosened again. I am sure you can't win. What's the use of going to die in vain? Those two were too impulsive, and in my opinion the leader was right. Good, good. Those two people are too stupid, the leader is for the grass-hidden village. Under the fear and threat of Orochimaru and others, the remaining people chose to compromise, and perhaps no one will remember that two people stood up for them today. So everything went smoothly, and under the command of Kudo-san, the binding curse was planted. After half a day, the ninjas of the entire grassy village are now under the control of Orochimaru and Feng Yao. 10 million taels of silver notes from his village and stuffed it into Feng Yao's hands. My lord, please pray for our Kaoyan village in Konoha. I don't have any bounty or funding in Kaoyan village, please don't dislike it. This leader is really good at flattering, no wonder he has his own set of methods to survive among so many big countries. Feng Yao looked at Kudo-san who kept stuffing money into his hands. Feng Yao hesitated. In the end, the money was collected and he helped his forehead. People in high positions always think farther, just like Kudo-san now. But Feng Yao still explained, actually, I'm not from Konoha, this time I came to your Kaoyan village just for some things. As for the information about you and Yinyan, I just happened to hear, you understand. Kudo-san was stunned for a moment, then thought, yeah, this time Konoha knows about my Kusakamura information, it must be done in secret, if you say it outright, it won't be true, I understand. He showed an expression of sudden realization. I understand, the adults are not from Konoha, they just happened to pass by my Kaoyan village to help me save Kaoyan village. Hire ninjas to raid. Feng Yao frowned. How could this person not listen? Seeing Feng Yao's unhappy look, Kudo-san thought it was because he gave too little, so he gritted his teeth and took out another 5 million taels. Sir, this is all of my Cao Yin's property, please accept it. Feng Yao really didn't know how to explain to the other party, so he simply gave up. However, his raid on Kaoyan village this time can be regarded as indirectly helping Konoha, so it should be a reward. So in the end, it was said to the outside world that the situation was attacked by hired ninjas, and the grassy village was hit hard. It was only with the help of powerful ninjas that the siege was resolved. Feng Yao and others temporarily stayed in Kaoyan village, and asked Kaoyan's ninjas to go out to find the bones of nearby strong men. The camera turns to the land of fire. In a tea house, two people in fire cloud suits and hats were having a meal. Said one of the tall men. 107 sang, Mr. Itachi, we have already arrived in the country of fire. If you want me to say, just go in and grab the 9 taels. Itachi took a mouthful of the 3 colored meatballs, and said without hesitation, the above told us to wait, but we can go to Konoha to check the information first. I heard that Hatake Kakashi is now working in Hokage, it can be regarded as an old acquaintance. Kakashi, known as the copy ninja. It seems worth a cut, your brother seems to be his guard. Itachi's expression showed no joy or anger, and silently swallowed the last ball without responding. The two walked out of the tea house after eating. In the corner of the tea house, the 3 of them also let down their guard. Is that the Shao organization that Feng Yao-sama said? Wearing a fire cloud suit, one of them should be the ghost shark with a big sword on his back, so his partner is Uchiha Itachi. I didn't expect to meet Shao as soon as I came here. The top group in the organization. Quote. Ningji looked solemnly at the table where Itachi and the others had just been. Feng Yao asked them to collect information, and naturally told them all the information about everyone in Shao, and told them to pay attention to these people. Let's go and tell Lord Feng Yao what happened here. Shang Rin and others also left in a hurry. Itachi looked back at the tea house just now from a distance, and then continued on his way.